live.
All right.
I click the button. You're live.
All right.
We're live.
Ladies and jerks,
I believe we're live.
estamos vivo aquí
Well, we weren't set up for
en
people
718
because we're late.
Televisión.
Because normally we have this running beforehand, but
Life gets in the way of a lot of things, ladies and jerks
we got
watching at home.
distracted. So you can see everything over there, right?
I think we're good. You're good. Everyone's good. Gracias por tu presencia aquí hoy noche. Yes, excellent.
Okay. What is this?
Right,
you can't put that on the camera.
And you need tools.
Yes.
So
I can't. We don't need tools. There are no tools needed for anything.
In the meantime, I have no access to Twitch chat, so I'm very sorry if anyone is saying or doing anything right now. I can see the feed of the Streamlabs and where he has the monitor 2 of shenanigans over here at home base at 718 TV headquarters. You're watching twitch.tv/Monoxis, and this is the best public access television most other people aren't watching. So, earlier, Monoxis was making the tags for this stream, and evidently, he was spelling millennials the proper way. I mean, as much as I hate to say it, the way every search engine spells it. And even though he spelled it Millennial, S, millennials, evidently that was deemed incorrect because there was a red squiggly line under the word. And we went with it anyways. So we hope you overlook such a transgression if you feel as insulted as Twitch did. It made no sense. Like the millennials thing, remember?
The spelling thing?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because normally Twitch has a pretty good spell checker, and so I looked it up and it had both spellings, and apparently both are correct.
Right.
But according to Twitch, neither are correct. So I can't tell if it's because both are correct, Twitch is I don't know what to do, buddy. It's just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's just one of those words where Twitch is what do you mean? You're much like the word China, that might be getting us flagged already.
Ah, you're invited to suffer. Who has joined John Woo? John Woo. Thank you, and we welcome you to suffer with us. Click the delicious OK cake. You could feel it run down to the base of your spine, to your fingertips, to the balls of your feet.
Imagine if you could actually click the OK cake button.
I would do things that would land me in The Hague to click that.
Ooh. Also, I really hope that the audio from that didn't cause a feedback because I have the speaker still on.
Feedback, back.
It's possible. I don't know.
Isolated. All right. So don't hold it against me, but I cannot see Twitch chat. No. It's. I remember when we were looking up millennial. I know. We're fine.
Mouse button and clicky. Right over here.
No, I'm staying put because someone has to be on camera. The ship has to can't steer itself.
You could slide over and click the damn window.
We can't just put a fucking cinder block on the gas pedal and rope on the steering wheel so we could play poker on the base of the ship.
If it's good enough for Mad Max, then it's good enough for us.
All right, and even though we did train a German Shepherd and a Penguin to drive the boat,
Pretty sure a cameraman could psychically steer something if you really wanted to.
Well, then, if that's the case, then
if he could fit in the fucking seat.
Well, cameraman has put on some weight since he had returned back from his redacted over at Redacted.
Yeah.
Although he was nice enough to leave his stuff behind, whether it was absent-minded or deliberate. Either way, I was really glad that happened. But he did come back, kind of a hefty cameraman. I have no other way how to put it.
Well, and so...
Reminder, quarantine weight is nonsense. All right.
Video coming soon. # when we're not lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Here's your glass of pee.
Thank you. So you heard it here first, folks. Like when we were playing Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup, all the pea-colored potions ended up being things like haste, healing. Oh, well, that's deep lore, and who knows how many of you were there for the very, very first streams.
But do you like how I think this is pretty decent for how the stream looks?
Oh, that looks fantastic.
Because then we have chat right there. Also, that
So Kool-Ader. Topic 5, being late. Dareline, late-ass motherfuckers, John Woo. Big late!
Yeah, we're late.
All right. 3 months of being late!
All right, here's the thing, though. We have an excuse for being late. We have
Bodega Boy in the rafters.
We have a good reason for being late.
What's good, El Primo?
Right? So I guess just to clear that, first of all, I had a late start today because I was supposed to take the day off from exercising, and I was sitting in my room, and I was like, oh no, Haynes is going to be here in an hour. And I was like, but I kind of really want to lift weights. And I was like, Haynes, we're delaying. I want to lift weights. So that's how we got a late start in the first place. And then we had to record some audio, and that derailed us. So,
this is true. However, it was all for a good cause, and it wasn't just to keep you waiting on purpose.
And in case Twitch wants to know, we're drinking pee today, so. But hello, I hope the audio is good.
Dare.
I was gonna say, there's a link on the top there. Now, I've already stated I don't care about pushing people to donate money to anything. Someone check out that link and just see if it works. You don't need to throw money at it because it might not even let you. But if you can check that link and see if it actually
the same way,
the
same way Bill the Cat 666 helped us out with the audio. Someone step up to the plate and click on that link and see if it does work in the first place. Because this is brought to you by viewers like you. But there is only so much one can do in 21st century public access television.
It worked on my phone, so I think it works.
Okay.
And I will donate money to myself, I guess, to see if it properly works, because I'm not sure if Streamlabs is going to let me get away with that. But we'll see. So we have that set up now.
All right.
Let's fix this fucking strap.
El Primo is all. Guys, you're on camera being watched. Well, I hope you're broadcasting us over at the bodega. I hope you're putting us up on the smart TV, and as people show up to buy anything from Skittles or beer or Slim Jims and cheese, I hope, and even construction dudes who have the thing of vodka in their shirt pocket, you clearly see it and it's on their breath, and you're just like, what can I get you? Because he's just another dude. So make sure to keep some quarter water on the side for us, but please.
Hey, thank you, Kool-Aider. Like that?
Thank you, Kool-Aider.
I'm glad we got to see it.
Thank you, Kool-Aider. That made a good day great.
And Zender, I don't know Zender, but apparently Zender's someone of yours.
Zender, from Twitter, if I am not mistaken. Buenas noches. Gracias por tu presencia aquí hoy noche. The dollar amount.
The dollar amount is cut off. I don't know why. We're gonna try and fix that.
If you are from Twitter, thanks. And if you're not from Twitter, well, are you from Interpol? Are you working for ONR? Perhaps he is infiltrating gypsy caravan fist fighters a la Snatch. For all I know, X-Ender XWX is king of the pikey fist fighter champions.
Why does it keep doing that? I don't understand what's going on with Streamlabs.
So you see, now Streamlabs has put its techno tentacles around.
It's been cropping things for
no reason.
I didn't put crops.
It is putting its techno tentacles into the desktop that is running the battle station, and Monoxus is now psychically handcuffed to the command center itself.
Xander. But yeah, the camera was cropped when I started this. Now the fucking the chat was cropped. The alert box got cropped. I didn't do any of that. I didn't crop anything.
It almost had a life of its own for just a brief itty bitty moment.
I don't understand. Camera, what's wrong with you today? Focus.
I think it's because there's so much goodness. Now they can't see the thing in the middle, or can they?
They can. Yeah.
They can.
That's
Excellent.
So now during the uploads of this, when we're talking at the chat, anyone who's watching the VODs over on the YouTube channel doesn't just have us looking off of the side and being like, and now it's no, look, it's here. We're not talking to imaginary people. You can read this too. We're not making this up. You can come hang out with us.
I am kind of glad that it no longer resembles in the original Star Wars, whenever Chewie would just talk to Han Solo, and you only knew what they were inferring to by
what he was saying back.
Right.
Also, I think it's a fun setup to have it right in the middle of us.
It's excellent.
So, if we're ever looking, it's look, and there they are. There's chat floating above us.
And you see, and just in case you missed it here first, all right. And honestly, if you're watching this not live, all right, I hope you come over and just see us live, if and when you can.
For the sub.
Not Kool-Aider, thank you for joining us to eat the delicious cake of suffering.
And especially those Prime subs, because those are the best subs.
You know,
because you're already paying for a service, you might as well have fun with it.
How come Kool-Aider hasn't been invited over for coffee and cake? I'm just saying. He seems like a nice guy.
Because
Why don't you let him wrestle
in
you?
Florida, I think.
Yeah, you can figure it out. Why don't you let him wrestle you?
If Florida man's ever over here in New York City, like, we can have coffee and like cake. We're not wrestling.
Okay, and by coffee and cake he means wrestling Kool-Aider. So
No, coffee and cake is, Oh no. Oh, well, that's fine. Who cares how you pay for things? I'm just saying the Prime subs. You're already paying for Amazon Prime, and you get one free sub every month. So you just throw it at the homies.
That, you see?
I used to throw it at Pro Jared, because I wanted to support him when he got back from his, false accusation stint.
That weird exile, yeah.
And now I throw it at, what's it called?
So.
El Primo, whenever he does stuff.
So please excuse my ignorance. So how do I pronounce it?
We had ads before our video. So that's amazing.
Ender? Is it Xender?
I would assume,
Let me know how to pronounce this.
Xander. Or Xander, because I always saw the AE, but I always get the AE from like Aether.
Right, the Tool album title, yeah.
So like Aether, is it Xander?
Let's see.
We can figure that out.
There's I do still like it when Haynes says the name of the person and then the text contents. Well, right, but then, it almost ends up feeling like a radio transcript after the fact if you're watching it like not live. So this ends up turning into like the public forum.
See,
all right?
That's why I was like, I want to put it in the middle because you can do this now.
See, you see this?
Because this. Great.
Hey, Kool-Aider, remember Goodfellas, and I have to come home to this! I should kill you!
Darelion says...
I have to worry about getting whacked outside in the street!
Darelion says he's got a Patron ad before the video, which makes me upset because Patron can advertise on Twitch, but if I drink alcohol while we're on a live stream, we might get in trouble.
This is true.
This is bullshit.
And, we have to make nice and not do what Kool-Aider says like clockwork every time on camera. So
yeah, we have to start playing with the rules now. If we want if we want to build and grow and do this for any kind of,
this isn't 1960s TV.
Hold on, don't move. You have a business cat hair stuck to your mask.
So this isn't 1960s TV where you could just like smoke on TV. Unfortunately.
Yeah. It's a shame. It's a damn shame because we do like to smoke and drink on camera. But...
However, so listen, unfortunately, you're not going to be partaking in such things.
Hey, John Woo. I don't know if I'm not getting in chat. I swear to God, I hate Google Chrome so goddamn much I almost broke. See, I'm not getting that in the chat, though, and that pisses me off.
That's kind of bizarre. You see?
So now I have to figure out where that window is. Because I want to check the donations window.
But thank you, John Woo.
Yes, thank you very much. We appreciate it. That will end up going back to someone else as a sub, probably. Thank you for helping me test out the link.
Yo, good looks,
But
homie.
now I know it works because Streamlabs was like, you don't have the Streamlabs Prime, whatever.
And how fitting and how apropos that it is the 718 TV Hood correspondent throwing money into the burn pit for 718 TV.
Yeah, I remember when we first set this up, I was like, what do I want to be the donation thing when we get donations? And I was like, yeah, the fucking it's burning money. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
It's too good. It's just it is almost
Camera.
Almost as
Focus.
good as the cake. Almost.
That's true, but I think it's funny anyway. Because I'm hoping that that down the line, eventually you'll get donations for no reason. It's like you're just burning money.
Well,
it's going to go, realistically, we need better mics. That's going to go towards that.
Right.
We need a better camera, because this one's old. The game camera is not kind of nice.
Which is kind of bizarre how the game camera has better quality. Stingash, buenas noches.
Who had a haircut? Camera, what's going on?
He had a haircut.
I had a haircut a while ago. Because I got tired of having long hair. Also, I think I look better. I didn't style it today because I don't care. That's also why I didn't shave, because I don't care. Because I'm not seeing anyone female today.
Right.
Unless there's females in the chat, in which case I have to start worrying about looking good on camera, I guess.
Oh, listen, ladies, go ahead and don't feed into the ego of Monoxus. And then he's going to invite you to private streams where he just lifts weights to Daft Punk.
I mean, that's like 4 times a week, so yeah, we can do that pretty regularly.
so you heard it here first, folks.
At least 4 times a week, Daft Punk and lift.
Hey, twitch.tv/Monoxus. Come follow if you want to see Monoxus lift weights and listen to Daft Punk. So, Xander, the AE is a friendship wheel if you squint hard enough. Aha!
You know what I'm going to do? Ignore me being on my phone, because I'm trying to figure out how I can get a visual representation of the donation window, because I know, like, John will put a message with that dono.
Point out him being on his phone.
Don't do it. Get off your phone.
No, I'm going to take a picture of you on your phone.
Okay, we're doing that. Do I have to go into my... Because I know it's on. Quick, Haynes, be entertaining.
All right, listen. So, once upon a time, ladies and jerks, there used to be 4 different kinds of flavors for Twix. I know, you remember.
Like, talk about the things we're going to talk about.
Oh no! Okay, fine. So, what's really funny?
Figure it out later.
What's with?
I'm not doing it. I have to go through loops. I will find out how to make sure those, because I want them to pop up in chat. I don't know why they didn't pop up in chat.
Although, okay, well, John, I'm very sorry that we did not see the message that came with the burn pit dove that you took and you fucking NBA Jam Slam dunked it into it.
Learning experience.
So, now hang on.
But, Haynes, prior to all of this, you came up with these topics for today.
Yes.
Those were all you. I didn't pick anything today. I just kind of was like, all right, we're doing something. Gary Johnson slam dunked it. I want a Gary Johnson slam dunk card so bad. I kind of want a Gary Johnson slam dunk shirt.
Although I will admit something that really swayed me.
I want a shirt. I want a Gary Johnson slam dunk shirt. Jeez, like if
it has to be like you know what you need, like whenever you would go to like Rockaway Beach or like Jones Beach and there's a guy doing like caricatures, and he would do it, but it has to be Gary Johnson slam dunk.
Yeah. I mean, we can get that made. Although it's a thing to put in the back of the mind for like shirts in the future. Like I mean, like you've got the one you're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the plain design. You see,
and then there's like the American Hero. There's the Lucky Charms Daddy's Money. You know, one day
check your phone.
Obviously, one day Bruce Gender will be a shirt.
One day
Bruce Gender will be a shirt, and like if John Woo doesn't get on it, one day we might have to get on the Gary Johnson.
Honestly,
shirt.
John Woo, you could learn how to screen print T-shirts on YouTube. I learned how to screen print T-shirts on YouTube. And if I could do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Like it just no one has an excuse. So
I was gonna say, because the topics you chose, I did not ask about the topics prior to, so I kind of want to know. Millennials, something nice about China. What else did you put up there?
Vaccines,
and
gimmick accounts on Twitter. Well,
Twitter. We just put Twitter.
We just put Twitter, but the whole point was gimmick accounts.
No, you actually like what? Like how to make a shirt? Like screen printing. If you do it in like a budget, because like you can get like some professional level like screen printing setups that you like have it like layered, and each section of the apparatus is a different layer, and you alternate it, but you can just get a fucking screen print.
Charlie Khan.
What's going on, Charlie?
What's going on?
How you doing? Oh, we have to use Charlie's things that he sent us.
That's right.
We have to film.
I have opinions about his review of pepperoni being the best topping of all time.
Well, we have to film a video about it. We can't just use it.
No, Kool-Ader, it's not... Damn it. Kool-Ader, we haven't even been streaming for an hour yet, and he's already asking for Freebird.
No.
Opinions! Honestly, Charlie, I wish you could be on on Break the Rules, but like in your bastard mask, but with like the blazer and the tie, like a la McLaughlin group. Come on, like you're fantastic on the Pokemans and on the drawing streams. We gotta get you on like the Anything Goes Friday Night Battle Royale Break the Rules streams. I'd really like to see that.
I just want to see when Charlie goes on to those. I want him to have like a face cam set up, because I want to see like the actual luchador mask. I think when both of you are on, there should be a point made to get face cams Just so during any of Lev's
There are
streams,
two luchadors.
there's two luchadors yelling at each other about shit. It would be amazing. Camera, focus!
Now, my client Charlie Khan meant to act in self-defense when he took a pitchfork and he went after them 42 living impaired people all moaning about them brains. That's what my client did, and I rest my case.
I'm gonna go beat the camera up because it keeps
So-
focusing.
All right, so mind you, Twitch chat is happily galloping. All right, you have to go to Clint.
You have to milk your wife.
You have to milk your wife and galloping. All right, galloping.
You know what?
There you go. I cannot into English today, not only on the interbuts or on my phone, but even in meat space.
I'm not touching cameraman's shit because I don't know why his camera's being stupid. I think it's just old and janky.
Galloping. All right, so, Charlie Khan, I sang Freebird on a stream last week, and Kool-Aiders all, Charlie Freebird? Evidently, in Central Florida, Charlie Khan is forever known as Freebird. Charlie Khan, I got the blazer and the tie. You goddamn right, Charlie. You see, you just gotta show up and class it up with the mask.
But like you too, like I can do, like if you're doing it from your place,
Yeah.
I can give you
Broadcasting from the bastard mansion.
because like this thing is like you can just take this and plug it in via USB, and like we use like what Zoom for shit. Zoom automatically will be like
That
camera.
would be nice.
And then you show up in this fucking like a nice outfit with a luchador mask. He shows up with a nice outfit and a luchador mask.
I think it would be really hilarious to see like two like semi-dressed luchadors show up on a stream.
Yeah, I mean realistically, you can be wearing nothing on the bottom half and just wear like a nice shirt and a tie.
That would be, or a very nice like open collared shirt, or
Yeah.
like
Or
paisley,
like a
or
sick
like
T-shirt and then a blazer. You know,
that would be really
it's
nice.
casual, but still with the mask because I think it would make for good optics. Like realistically, if I go and do those streams, I wouldn't wear this mask. I would wear my like Mr. Karate mask and then just like mic underneath it.
Right.
So like then we could just really fuck those streams up with like live cams, just weird people in masks. Why not?
I've always but so that would be
Be pretty solid, right?
that would, you see, because suddenly you're getting swarmed by people in masks,
Yeah.
and like now there's
Who have
this
very strong opinions.
now there's this unmeasurable variable where like they're in person and they're doing this thing, but now they're just in masks. That's right.
All right, Haynes. Like just to
So
yeah,
millennials,
there are a lot of mask bastards now.
you see?
In fact, most of the planet is a mask bastard now, whether they like it or not.
Charlie Khan was just a masked bastard before it was popular. Monoxus and I were wearing masks before it became a thing. Remember when we went to City Hall and he was like, "Where's your mask?" And I was like, "I am wearing a mask." And
Yeah,
then
they got really pissed at that though. Where's your mask? I'm wearing a mask. Not that kind. But those people sucked.
oh boy.
Those people got really mad when you were like, "Yo, what's up, local politics?" And they're like, "Yeah, local politics." And it's like, name one local politician. And it was like, oh no.
Do you know who sits in the Chamber of Commerce?
Oh,
The
no.
only dude who really...
That's right, John. Well, we are masked hipsters.
Yo, up yours, John Boo. Masked hipster...
Actually, no. Does Charlie I think Charles has been on the internet for a while. He predates us as far as mask like stuff goes.
I would argue Charlie's been rocking his... Like, every time I picture Charlie Khan telling a childhood story, like, he talked about how, like, he was, like, in a stage production in, like, elementary school or something. And I picture, like a 9-year-old kid, but with, like,
With a mask,
with the mask. And he's like, that's the con boy!
I'm
And
just
he's,
saying.
and he's all, like, singing in something like, what never, no, never, what never,
I'm
and like
saying
the,
is technically-
in the, what was the name of that fucking
So-
musical? No, wait,
Okay,
the
see,
USS,
since the 90s, so
no, wait, the USS, what the fuck is the name? It was in that fucking episode where Sideshow Bob is about to kill Bart, and he's like, do you have any last requests? And he's like, can you do the entire score of the HMS Pinafore? There you go, that's it. And little
There you go.
9-year-old Charlie Khan with a mask. What never? No, never.
all I'm saying
What
is,
never?
if anyone's a mask hipster,
Gilbert and Sullivan's, thank you for correcting me,
Charlie Khan is the masked hipster.
He's been on the internet since the 90s.
But
back
right-
when
oh,
back
you
when
know
you
what?
needed a screen name and a password to get onto forums.
How's that for a transition? We're talking about hipsters. Why do you want to talk about millennials all of a sudden?
All right, so I don't want to blow his spot, but I was talking to A of the H and DMs, and we were talking about like what is it about millennials, and where when we were growing up, how come there were people who like had money but complained about being broke, but they were drinking like $6 lattes every day.
Yes.
You know, and how is it that like there doesn't seem to be this much of a deficiency in Generation X, but there are a lot of millennials that don't know how to iron, that have never like an ex of mine didn't know how to iron and sent everything to the dry cleaners since forever. Like, who has that kind of privilege?
What's
like,
the millennial window? I always forget these like age group things. Like, I'm pretty sure I count as a millennial, right? If I'm not mistaken, I don't remember the actual like, but yeah, there's definitely like I'm pretty sure I count as one. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm yes, and listen, you know, it's kind of scary. I used to remember the old timers talking about how there used to be like home economics,
yes,
and like that, and but there's no self-sufficiency, and in a way, it's almost as if like, did you have immigrant parents? Yes. Oh, then like you saw some ridiculous shit growing up and it left a mark.
Okay, 98 is the cutoff. What's one before that, John Woo? If you're looking it up right now,
I believe it's Generation X. No,
but like when did they get the cutoff? I think it's the 80s, right?
I don't know.
Late 80s.
I don't. Your earring is upside down.
Who cares? I'm sorry. They can't see my earrings, right?
His left earring, it's upside down. Don't tell anyone.
Camera focus.
85? I don't know.
We'll go off of that.
I don't know.
I'm a millennial. And I mean, I understand what you're saying though, because I grew up with a lot of those people.
Yeah.
The ones who like some of my best friends growing up were people who lived in much nicer houses than where I lived, and their parents handled everything.
I need a haircut. Holy shit, this is not good.
You've needed a haircut for a very long time.
Yeah, but now it's getting serious because then it's just starting to fall over the place. I don't want to.
Why do you think I cut that? Why do you think I cut my hair off? I got tired of it being everywhere.
This is no good. This is no good.
That's it? You want to talk about how millennials are a generation of privileged, spoiled jerk-offs? Is that the topic we're going into?
Kind of, maybe, sort of. This is, listen, millennials are the first, hold on. The millennials are the first generation that, for starters, they're the ones who stand to inherit the wealth when boomers die off.
Yes.
It's going to be millennials, okay?
Camera, why?
Now, a number of things are going to happen. Camera's freaking me out, man. Listen,
Camera's freaking me out, too. It's never done this before.
Listen, Kool-Aider, you need to sit down and you need to just start breathing, all right?
Man, are we too far from it? Is it being stupid because it can't get a good read on us?
This is the worst fucking shampoo and conditioner commercial in the world. You just can't win with this fucking hair. I really need a haircut.
So, like, yeah, millennials will inherit the boomer money.
All right, so millennials are gonna like.
Some of them already have.
Right. But the point is.
In fact, I know a couple.
It's right, but it's going to happen on a mass scale. It's already starting to trickle down because because this is an entire generation that has to die off.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like the weird, because like you're talking about the wealthy privilege that comes with being a well-off millennial, thanks to your well-off boomer parents. Yeah. Right. Weirdly enough, I've also seen that those same people, the ones that had inherited money, whether or not they went and made their own, because I feel like a lot of them did end up having like a career in something that's like lucrative.
Right.
They weren't slouches, but that also came with like a well-paid-for education because, again, boomer money. Right. But they also all became really active in social justice to an extent, or environmentalism. One or the other, like if not both. So not only did they become, I guess, stunted by not having to do things because money paid for stuff, but they also feel like they have to look down, I guess, because that's how I always see social justice and environmentalism from someone who, I don't know, like someone who likes to drive their car to work and be like, you're killing the planet, but I drive every day. Like, okay, sure. And then tell me that I have to not eat steak.
And and some of those people, like the holier than thou ars, end up taking the bus, but kind of justified because like there's 20 of us in this vehicle and you're just using your own.
But
right.
If you're going to take measures, the bus is better than having your own vehicle.
If you're if you're
talking about environmentalism.
If you're driving to an environmental activist like protest, you've already lost. So millennials are kind of silly because again.
Although, I do want to, before we continue this conversation, the reason why I mentioned...
Before we continue this conversation, if you're watching and you haven't followed, follow. Because you're watching the best public access television most other people aren't watching here at twitch.tv/Monoxis, all right?
But I was going to say, the reason why I brought up my being a millennial is because having not grown up with well-off parents, or really, I mean, like the wealthiest people in my family our uncles and aunts, and like, I don't really deal with them. I like the whole ordering lattes. No, never did that shit. Like I live within my means. I've had paycheck to paycheck moments. I know how to iron a shirt.
I make my own coffee.
Like yeah, I cook meals for the week. I take care of myself. But at the same vein, I guess that also is why you see the more well-off ones where they have the ability because they have this background to support them and a net that they can fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend right now who has a very large safety net. Oh, the cow.
Here we go.
They have a very large safety net as far as wealth goes. So even amidst the pandemic, there was no worry of like bills being paid.
Mm-hmm.
And now, instead of going back to work like they were prior to the pandemic, because that safety net kicked in during the pandemic, they're now using all of their free time to do volunteer work for social causes.
Really?
So as much as I'm like, hey, that's fucking awesome that you're doing that, but you also have so much money from your like parent safety net that you're like, I'm not going back to work. I'm just gonna help out like lower income communities, which good for you. But that also shows you that like you don't have to work for a paycheck anymore.
Imagine that.
You can just stop.
Imagine that.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Meanwhile,
Reminder.
my ass, like the job I lost, they're gone now. The place that they were, they're
Hudson Yards.
They're not like no, not Hudson Yards is not going anywhere. The place I was working at, they're like, no, we're not reopening that spot. It's donezo.
Wow.
Granted, I never want to go back to that field in general, but you know,
damn,
doesn't mean that it's not. It doesn't mean it's not a thing.
You heard it here first, folks. All right.
Food service is bullshit.
Now, it should be noted that even though there has been this great restructuring and we have learned that, like, now consider how much work has been able to get done from people at home. Like, that's a variable that is impossible to ignore, and that which we have been thrusted upon, you see. Now, everything is done through Zoom, which is kind of weird because, like, for the most part, all of the bare bones moving parts of what was necessary for an office to move forward and perpetuate itself, all of the moving parts were removed from, like, office culture. I mean, like, you still gotta wear, like, a shirt and tie, but
I mean, office workers benefited from that, though.
But hear me out.
Sure, yeah.
Office space is now, like, a relic, officially, because, like, that's not happening anymore.
Well,
the office?
It's not gonna not happen.
Right.
There will be a point where people will go back to work, but I do think this has given us an opportunity to...
Reminder. If you worked in an office and you just rushed home so you could watch The Office, you're unfit for civilization. All right?
Yeah, I mean, Office fans will not like you.
That's fine.
That's whatever.
There are good episodes of The Office, but it's not something I've committed a lot of time to. I've just been recommended, like, here.
I remember when someone was like, you should watch The Office, and then I watched the UK Office, and I didn't get it. Like, not that I didn't get the show. I didn't get why they were like, you need to watch this.
Right.
And I was like, what do you mean? The show is, like, it's okay. Like, why is this something that you're super into? And then it was like, oh, no, like this version of it. I was like, oh, there are different versions. I feel like that happens like multiple times.
Oh, no, there are like dozens of versions. There's one for every like country, more or less.
Oh, yeah, but I'm just like, shows in general, I always gravitated towards the UK version.
I want to know what like the Chilean version of The Office is like, or like...
The same thing happened with, what was that show, Shameless?
Or like...
Like, I watched a bunch of the UK...
Serbian version of The Office?
I watched Mad of the UK Shameless, and then all of a sudden Shameless was popular in America, and I was like, oh, yeah, that show's pretty good. The one, and it was like, no, the new one. And I'm like, oh, we have one now.
Right. Man.
Hello, Mr. Mystic Shorts.
Mr. Mystic Shorts. Gracias por tu presencia aquí hoy noche, porque estamos vivo aquí.
Indian Office. Wow, you cannot
Twitch.tv/Monoxus. Rush, you cannot do this. Bloody bastard! Benchon!
Hello, Mr. Mystic Shorts. But what do you think? Like, how do you
think... you!
How do you think this whole Office thing has? I mean, like, because you mentioned Millennials, but like that's more virus related.
Okay, but herein lies the trickiness in some of this. All right, so there have been there's been like a generation of people who entered the workforce and where it was like a dress code with deadlines, but then there's also like intra-office politics, and you know that is a reminder that like high school never ends.
Right.
You will never find a more backbiting, ugly, gossipy, brimming scenario in your life than like an office that gets anything corporate done, anything. All right.
Well,
it just seems to be this.
I'll take your word for it.
It seems to be this petri dish of every single negative stereo, which is why something like Office Space is like before you work in an office. All right. Office Space is like a cheeky, quotable, lighthearted movie with like haha happy ending. And then you work in an office, and it's this like crushing existential like reminder, like
So I've heard, yeah.
down to small details that hit, and like it's on the level of when like I forget what show it was on VH1. I think it was like I Love the '80s, and
Sure.
like Spinal Tap was released, and everyone from like Scott Ian from Anthrax to Dave Mustaine from like Megadeth was like, all right, like that hit a little too close to home. Like they had to have talked or written,
Or like been
like
involved,
people
yeah.
that were on the road and things go bad, or like this the mundane day to day of being a band that never gets like the spotlight. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Right. So all things considered. All right. So now, Office Space might be relevant if offices open back up. We've had a generation of people that were like, like now all of the intra-office politics is gone because you're doing everything with a webcam.
Yeah.
And you don't know how many people are phoning it in wearing no pants but like a shirt and a tie.
Probably
or
most
like
people, I assume.
Right. So now it's bizarre because how does one even get a promotion in this environment? Like now everything is stymied. Most companies, they're either ranging from like a skeleton crew keeping everything alive and there are so many things falling on the back burner and they're turning away clients, or you have something like, it's crazy, Merrill Lynch. Merrill Lynch was like, fucking people working from home aren't as effective when they were working back in the office. Put them back in the office, and then they put them back in the office, and then like a lot of people got sick, and then they're working back in the office.
That makes sense.
Outside the office. Excuse me, but
'cause-
that's and then
But if you're not in a working
and
environment,
then
you're not gonna work as hard.
people like Barclays, all right, and people like Goldman Sachs. They're like, well, these people working from home are like they're really entitled. Who do they think they are? Like, so anyways.
Oh no!
Imagine
Cat wants us to, or Madman Muzan wants us to do something cool, so he can make a cool picture later.
Oh well, okay. So how about this? Here,
I don't know how to define like what is a cool thing.
well,
like harassing the cows in the background, cool.
So it depends. Like, I mean, a part of me is expecting Kool-Aid to ask me about orthorexia nervosa, but I also, can attempt to be cool from like Millhouse, which is uncool, to like the Fonz, which is like very cool. I mean, the only thing cooler than the Fonz is Sammy Davis Jr.
Kool-Aid recommended locking our arms and taking a sip of our pee. But I don't know about that.
Well, I'm very sorry, but I'm out of pee.
We cannot lay back and smoke anything because Twitch doesn't like when you smoke on camera, apparently.
So hang on. All right, this is true, unfortunately. John Woo goes, when I interned at a nonprofit organization, there was about 16 of us, and the drama never stopped. There was one guy who made a big scene because he got let go in a meeting, and for the next 5 weeks, they just wouldn't stop talking about it.
Hold on, I can get us some more pee though.
It was like they didn't have their own lives or something, right? And you know what, John Woo, if they weren't hung up on other people's lives, they might not be so afraid of themselves. These people, what do you mean when I say these people? People who work in offices, all right? They're not people.
That's not fair. You work in an office, you're people.
That's questionable. John Woo is all, it was like, oh no, Mr. Mystic Shorts chimes in with Jasmine Oxus and Fireball Heinous. What an excellent banner. Thank you, though. That's a really great picture, Mr. Mystic Shorts.
There's some more people. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Minoxus. It's a great picture, homie. Good looks. Or, as John Woo ever would rightfully tell you, my nigga. You see? It wasn't a gamer word, all right?
Technically, yeah. I don't know how Twitch feels about that, though.
That's fine.
But technically, you're a minority, so I feel like you can get away with it.
Technically.
If I said it, I would get in trouble.
I'm half spick, all right?
Whoa!
So, hey, I'm allowed to say it because I'm half spick.
No, not according to anyone. apparently nowadays.
Really?
Apparently.
Hey, does Spic get censored in chat? Let us know.
Probably. Don't make them do that. You're gonna ruin the entire fucking...
Oh, no!
Yeah. I mean, again, he is, so it's kind of...
Spice.
It's kind of up in the air, though, you know?
Although...
No, Kool-Aider. Look at that. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. I don't know.
You see? Okay, so like, I think of all of the episodes that went by, or for all you know, it was like flaming cartwheels.
But look, the mod didn't get it. The mod didn't get it. Right? See, that's how I've been taking this shit.
Twitch got
every time Twitch doesn't auto mod something, my immediate thought is like, Twitch doesn't care about Group X. You know what I mean? Like,
Twitch don't care about Latinos. That's kind of fucked up, John Woo.
Yes, Haynes is a bean boy.
You're a bean boy, Haynes.
Also, Haynes is technically lowercase, but that's just a thing that he likes. But us regular people capitalize names.
Haynes. Stained Haynes is all lowercase. It is all lowercase. Let the record state and reflect that it is all lowercase.
Is that? I mean, is it still doing the unfocused thing? Is that what stopped it? Is me sitting close up keeping it from focusing?
All right, so hang on.
Oh no.
Kool-Aider.
I gotta stay right here.
Kool-Aider got caught by the.
I can't relax. No, but that's not that's showing. I think that's because like the auto mod will highlight things, because if he uses my name, Twitch thinks he's threatening me. I think that's why that red comes up.
Okay, someone. Type Monoxis's name in their message, whether it's directed at him or not. I want to see if this is just for Kool-Aider, because evidently Twitch thinks Kool-Aider is a threat to Monoxis's life. No,
it just thinks that using my name, like it wants, at first it's highlighting it, you know what I mean? But it's not auto-modding him. Also, I kind of tweaked the mod settings. I tweaked the mod settings so that it wouldn't auto-mod things. See that? I saw it. I read it. Because I got tired of having to like lean over and be like, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. Like, it's my chat. I'll decide if I don't like things. As long as you're not going around being like gamer word, I'm not going to ban you.
Okay, fair enough.
And even if you were, I have to ban you just out of principle. But but you see, like, red outline, because like Twitch is like, is he threatening you? Are they threatening you?
Do not threaten me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Dare chimes in with, I will reference him as Haynes. Now, like how Dare is all uppercase. All right.
Which is also interesting because since the channel name is Monoxis, it automatically identifies Monoxis as a person, as the owner of the channel. But since Stained Haynes is not registered by the channel, you can threaten Stained Haynes constantly.
You could do anything.
And the chat wouldn't even notice.
You could say anything like, I hope to murder you in your sleep like the IRA, Stained Haynes, and it'll be fine.
Don't say that, though, because then...
You could say things like, I'm going to break into your home and empty out your fridge. And then I'm going to put your kids in it, and I'm going to duct tape it shut. And when you get home, I'm going to ask you where the money is. Yeah. And if you don't give me an answer, it's your kids. Like, you could threaten me with that because I'm not the owner of the channel.
Twitch has also been really lenient on the beheadings.
No, John Woo, it's all... Come on, homie, it's all lowercase. It's not your fault. But, like, you know what? You see? Him, it's all like... Whoop, 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 whoop. Alert with the little fucking like highlighted red text. And there's like the light behind over there.
They don't get red text in the chat. We get red text.
No, you just get regular, non-threatening, don't call the IRS, NSA, like,
I appreciate Twitch
NYPD, Interpol, FBI, CIA, Federal Marshals, ATF alarm.
I appreciate Twitch announcing that someone might be threatening me. Because you know what? Because it's kind of like how you can do the whole point system in the chat and like redeem a message and highlight it. It's auto highlighting things with my name in it, so I pay attention to them.
Okay.
Except one day people might actually be threatening me, and then it's like, okay, man, why are you threatening me? Man, get him out of here. Because it'll happen. Someone's gonna threaten me.
So
someone's gonna either threaten or try to cancel me.
All right. No, inevitably.
And it's not gonna stick.
Inevitably, the closest you've gotten is.
I'm threatening you to have a wonderful day, and there's the highlighted message. See, it comes in a different color. It's purple for us.
You know what? I would kill for a picture of John Woo like holding a gat to the camera, going,
"Oh like, wait, you know what, chat?
I'm threatening you to have a good day."
You know what chat hasn't seen?
There's like 27 hood rats behind him. Why is that one dude in the hoodie over his head have an AK? It's crazy. So, oh no, you see what you made him do? Now he's got the phone and he's not paying attention.
No, I'm gonna show chat the emotes.
Oh, there you go. Well, he is paying attention. I'm just being a jerk.
Let's see. All right, chat. peek those real quick. Come on, camera.
Can you see that?
Come on, camera. Focus. Focus, camera. Look! Emotes coming soon.
So soon. Soon, all right, ladies and jerks? You two will get your emotes. It will happen, all right? We just don't want to say that the check is in the mail, all right?
Very soon. And then after that, we have to, figure out what the rest of the emotes are as we unlock slots.
And then you too can spam One Haynes and Monox like this. You really need to figure out what to name it.
I don't like that I can't, because like it has to be like Monox first. So it's gonna be like Monox One Haynes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When we get partner, if we get people in here and following and subscribing, all right, then we can get custom names and we can just call it One Haynes. But for now, I do like Monox like this, or just like not like this in general. I don't know what to call I feel like the cameraman one is the question. So if someone wants to inquire about something, cameraman.
Like consider the following.
Yes. But I feel like eventually we're gonna need to consider the following, where it's a frog in a what's it called? Blue Demon mask. And that'll be considered the following.
Deal.
Just for the sake of the thing. John Woo says you need to check your Twitter, by the way.
Okay, so I have to check my Twitter. Fine, John Woo. Making me move my ass like a jerk.
In the meantime, I don't mean to cut the millennial conversation short. Do you have anything millennials are spoiled? Except I'm a millennial and I'm not spoiled.
However, no, well, not all millennials are spoiled, but
or just like the weird gap. But all right, so in reference to the and then the generation passes down the wealth, and the wealth becomes a thing that they use to create art or be involved in social crises of different varying degrees. That's kind of like a pattern, though, is it not? Because now this generation of wealthy, socially active jerks will end up.
Wait. Oh my fucking god!
What happened?
All right.
Did he threaten you?
He threatened me to have a nice day. Exercising his Minecraft right. All right. Thank you, John Woo. You know what? I can no longer ask you in my mind's eye with the voice of Beavis, why are you threatening me? Because John Woo just wants me to have a nice day.
Yeah, dude. I mean, John Woo wants everyone to have a nice day. John Woo's just a good guy.
Listen, John Woo, when you were walking around live in Pittsburgh, that was better than it had any right to be, and that was so good. I am really surprised how so seamlessly. You hungry? Mike in the back. You hungry?
I'm so glad someone got that sandwich. I'm still mad there wasn't a Gary Johnson sandwich, but
I am really proud that he fucking ate in front of the gym. That's a pro move. Even though we didn't get to catch it, we were able to hear.
Didn't some guy call him out too?
And yes,
not call him out, but
well, he just started talking to him.
But he was just eating pizza in front of the gym. He knew it was up. He saw it was happening. It wasn't just hey, how are you going? What's going on? How you doing? No.
Ladies and jerks, if you're watching at home and if you're not following John Woo, you have to follow John Woo because he's one of the few neutral good people left on this planet. All right. And once in a while, he streams in Pittsburgh, and it's live, and it's wild. It is the most wholesome shit you've never seen in your life. And it's not wholesome like puppies and kittens. And no, it's hood wholesome because it's like a damaged, fucked up, good, if not great ending. That's what that is, all right? Don't make John Woo threaten you to have a nice day, because he can and he will.
Apparently.
Watch, one day, there's going to be a meme of John Woo with a gun. He's like, text your mom you love her right now.
It's not a bad format. Why not, right? Forcibly making people be better.
Gary Johnson slam dunk.
I'm mad there was no
I will admit
there was no resolution on the Gary Johnson.
There was one meme in the 2016 election that I was quite partial to because Gary Johnson ran for president, and you know how there was Field of Burn?
Yeah.
Field of Johnson. That's on a semantic level alone.
Little rapey.
That's not as. There's an infamous screenshot where I'm Pole like somebody thought it would be funny to be like, they opened up a thread, and it was about to be like a pro-Biden, anti-Trump thread. And it was like, get ready for the Joe Pedo, but it was spelled Joe Pedo, and it was like, did you think this through? And then like three replies into it, how do I delete a thread? And it's like, you and then you look at the top, 298 replies, like...
No. Oh, God.
Feel the Johnson, all right?
We probably shouldn't talk about the president on stream, to be fair. Or, you know what? We could probably dedicate an entire stream to,
You're not wrong.
To Biden in general. Because, like, we can talk about his past, the current policy.
The fact that he kind of doesn't look like how he used to back then.
The Obama era where he was trying to find the ice cream machine inside the White House and Obama wouldn't let him have it. Like, we could talk a lot about Biden. Not now, though.
Right.
We got other things to talk about. But we could do that. Maybe when he's up for re-election, we just have, like, a Joe Biden power
You're making
hour.
You're making it seeming like he might live to see another election.
Oh, he's gonna.
And we're not like saying anything. Because he's old
to spite us.
and like he's dimension ridden and just this shuffling sack of meat and organs.
No Biden stuff, because
and eyes connected to nothing.
He's gonna live to spite us.
He's kept alive by Tibetan black magic. No one wants to talk about this.
Which it's gonna live up.
It might not even be him.
Maybe.
That's all I'm saying. Look at old pictures of Biden and then tell me how not he looks like from back then.
I'm just saying we could talk a lot about it, but we're not here to talk about that now.
Okay. The point is,
you got any final thoughts on millennials?
I feel that yes, I do have a final thought on millennials. All right. So.
Because I feel like we didn't really talk too much about them.
No, but that's not the end of the world.
No, I don't think there's much to talk about millennials. As a millennial myself, we're kind of boring.
I mean, listen.
I can't lean back. The camera's going to unfocus.
And then you see. So now he's the reason you can't see the cows on Super Mega Ultra Focus. All right. Joe is 100% a computer generated graphic now. All right. Listen, Mr. Biden. All right, Mr. Biden
Mr. President.
is 67% like static condensed into a skinwalker. That's all Joe Biden is at this point. You know, it's funny how they like remember that green screen gaffe, you know, and people try to explain it away, and then like recently,
you mean when the microphones clip through the grass?
Yep.
On live television.
Like yes.
And then people were like, "That's not a green screen, really?" So microphones just can like phase in and out of the background.
And on top of this, it's like, why does that White House lawn look so dumpy?
If anything, the best way they could have explained that is that some jerk off sitting at the studio while it was being filmed, assuming it was live, because I'm going to operate under the fact that wasn't a lie and it was live. Right. Was live editing, and while he was talking to what I imagine was a couple of people who were like with shotgun mics or whatever the fuck they had, they were like, "Well, we can't see the mics. You can't see the mics." And somebody like fucking took a picture of microphones and like cut it out in Photoshop and then like put it into the live to make it look like he was talking into microphones for no reason at all. I guess for like optics, which that's the best reason I can come up with why those microphones were like photoshopped in.
Which is 100,000 times more convoluted than green screen gaff, even though his is more plausible. However, like it's more,
and then it's a matter of who let the intern run the live stream.
Can I build on this?
Yeah, go ahead.
So. Very recently, there was a picture of like Biden and I think his wife, and they're with this like really old couple, but it's really weird because like
the weird like fish lens shot.
Yeah, like why
does people look like crunched?
They look like they're hobbits,
yeah.
And you know it's like hello, like I am an adult-sized human. You know, like, and it just...
I think those were just small people.
So no, they weren't midgets.
No, not midgets. Just like, you know how, like, as you age, your body falls apart on you? Theirs is, like, crushing in on itself. Via like, failing discs and joints eroding.
The point is...
And they're not exercising, so all of their, like, movements hurt and make them, like, crunch up.
I'm so tired.
And now they're just, like, small husks of themselves.
To quote Kool-Aider, that was Jimmy Carter and his wife. Hey, you take that back.
I don't care who they were. They were small and old.
So listen.
I'm not wrong.
So listen. All right.
But it did look like it looked like someone took that picture with a weird lens.
Well, because it is explained away by going, well, they think a wide camera lens is the possible explanation, which implies, number one, whoever took the picture doesn't know how it happened, and that's not an explanation.
Well, hold on, Haynes. You have to remember, in the current world we live in the current time we live in, going back to the millennial conversation, these people that we're dealing with all fancy themselves artists. Now imagine a world back in the day where it was like, I gotta fight my way upward to become the photographer for the press team for the White House.
Right.
Now you could be like a 20-something-year-old asshole with an art degree and a camera, or an iPhone. And they'd be like, well, they're a diversity hire, therefore they gotta work on the team. And then it's like, all right, we're gonna just take a picture over here with these folks, just normal picture, and the person behind the camera is some like half-shaved head, pink, piercings everywhere, wearing a BLM shirt, being like, well, hold up, though. I gotta like put like a filter on it, and I'm gonna do this. And it's like, can you just take the... And it's like, well, I'm gonna do that. And then it ends up being stupid looking. But because you hired this person out of whatever reason, and I listed a couple of why they might be on the team, so that could be it too.
That's true.
It could be a tech error, which I think is more plausible. But it could also be the person behind the camera has a stupid art degree brain, and it's like, just take a picture of the president, and he was like, no. And now it's like weird fish lens,
and adjust like the tint and the contrast.
And they were like, but this looks better. And they were like, if we tell them no, they're gonna throw a fit.
Well,
they're gonna talk about how their artistic integrity is being like put down. Or depending on what they look like and behave like, they're going to call the president a bigot.
However,
the president being an old white man, if he gets called a bigot, he has to take a knee and go, yes, I am.
But this... Okay, well, not...
So, tech error? Most likely.
I call shenanigans, because they said the possible explanation for this thing is a wide... No, which implies the person taking the picture didn't know, and I don't buy that. All right, now. So... In fact, I would go so far as to say where it's like Twitter in the what's happening section would offer you, hey, photographers think it's possible, which is a nice way of going like, don't look into this. It's okay. It's not a shoot. Don't worry about it. Why are you thinking about it? You're crazy.
Well, if a professional photographer was like, I could see this being a thing, I'd be like, all right, cool. I'm not saying you're right, but it's possible. Now I'm nowhere near professional with a camera, but I know enough to go. Dumb lens, poor choice of camera, weird, like, much like the fuck, because, like, I saw Hobbit in the chat, or Halfling, rather, maybe it was just a weird angle thing, you know?
Who knows? They didn't look like traditional little people.
Maybe Biden was keeping his distance, because, like...
what do you call them? Midgets, dwarves? They're
halflings.
Not hobbits?
Halflings.
All right.
Little people.
Oompa Loompas are little people?
No. Those are Oompa Loompas. It's a race.
Okay.
It's an actual race.
But they're small.
But they're a race.
Okay.
Like an actual... like
dwarves are small.
Dwarves are a race, and gnolls are a race, and goblins are a race. Oompa Loompa is a race. If you call a small human an Oompa Loompa, you are miscategorizing them. They're just a small human.
Okay. Oompa Loompa lives matter.
Well, they're just in a race. Apparently from a jungle somewhere.
And
they're really good at making candy.
How come no one ever talks about Oompa Loompa on Oompa Loompa Crime?
I don't know if Oompa Loompas really...
Shire rats? Bugbears are a race, that's true.
They are.
Oh, and by bugbears you mean Chechens. So,
Also, I peeped real quick. I have not seen the Obama documentary with Oprah. I don't know if you have. I don't watch anything with Oprah.
I have
mostly because I hate Oprah.
So, they were in two different...
Not as a person, as a... What's the word? And as an entertainer, I think she's shit. I'll leave it at that.
She had been on daytime TV since the 1980s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think I mean, like, long track record doesn't make you good.
Hey, reminder, right? True, reminder. All right.
Someone could be paying the bills.
In the 80s and the 90s, talk shows were like pro wrestling for stay-at-home wives and moms. All right, because talk shows were these insane, like, it's the closest thing to like IRL shit posting. I have no idea how to put it, but it was just this, because TV was one way, you know.
Oh yeah, Oprah's got a huge following on Twitter, huge, because it's never gonna die. All I know is the only thing I heard about Oprah recently, because now we're fucking way off track. She did that. I think it was her who did the interview with members of the royal family.
I think so.
Like the prince or something?
No, I think it was the BBC who interviewed Prince Andrew. But I'm pretty sure Oprah interviewed fucking
But
royalty at some
Oprah
point.
interviewed them recently, and like,
Oh yeah, Markle and Harry.
and
Yeah.
she called
She just like shushed them.
She called them like racist.
And she was like, I'm oppressed. And it's like, you're a fucking IRL princess and you're talking about being oppressed.
Yeah, you're one of the wealthiest people of color on the planet, and you could buy your way into anything, and you're gonna try and come out and like, and you're talking to actual royalty who's trying to have like a genuine conversation, and you're gonna like come at them mad hard.
That was mildly disappointing.
But I heard about that, didn't watch it, so if I'm missing information here, whatever. But like, I heard about it, and anytime I hear, it's kind of like when you watch the Oscars and somebody comes up and goes like, we have to do something about this horrible, horrible state of things in Hollywood. And it's like, you were friends with those motherfuckers who were raping people. You still are.
Here are many pictures of you cozying up with them in the 90s and the 2000s.
Look, that's you hugging them. And that's you showing, oh, remember that time you brought an actress to them to get them into the business?
Hey, here's you standing next to this other actor you've done a lot of movies with.
So Oprah trying to like talk down at people as like a wealthy elite like is just one of the like, I don't know. It's, to me, it's funny. It's hilarious.
So okay, closing thoughts on millennials. This is what I'd like to give. Okay.
Sure, go.
So as the boomers eventually die off, millennials stand to inherit. I'm not going to say it's the greatest transfer of wealth in human history, but it will be one of them. All right. So, but it's not going to happen all at once. It's already started, but you know, there's going to be a point where it comes in a large wave and it trickles out until the very last boomers die off. The point is, number one, in spite of the economy being comatose and there's just people poking it with a stick and the economy shat the bed and like, so now everyone's in like hazmat suits poking it with a stick and like taking bets on it.
Yeah.
So
or buying Dogecoin.
Or buying Dogecoin.
Some of us are not paying attention to the old corpse of the economy, and we're buying Dogcoin.
So, all right, and imagine like two dudes just covered in like economy shit, like giving like give more Dogecoin.
I'm
like
just saying, rotting corpse of a dead beaten horse or a weird autistic dog.
So, wow, much yes.
I'll take dog.
Any day of the week. So as this perpetuates itself, women across the board earn more than men in the United States, but I'm not sure how it is in the rest of the West. And even though like average income has gone down, women have more disposable income than men. So men are going to be subjugated to like sleep in the pod, eat the bugs, and enjoy the unisex Marvel superhero cape shit movie. All right.
Okay.
And
what does that have to do with millennials?
And because then millennial women, listen. If you thought like Sex in the City was some snarky bullshit of like aging broads who look like horses with an axe to grind living a fantasy world, you ain't seen shit yet. Because millennial women are going to be like that, but with the snark turned all the way up to 11. And they're going to use like, and the ones that didn't marry and settle down, they're going to be this just like generation of like unappeased women that like right now. All right. So for example, we could segue this into the Twitter like ordeal, okay? Women posting their L's online. One of my favorite tweets is how like, you know, it's sad because like you thought you could have it all, but evidently you cannot. There was this like, you know, CEO woman, bad boss girl, and she froze her eggs, and then she thawed her eggs out because she was like, all right, I'm ready, I found a donor, and then like, you know, thawed her eggs out and like. And no, you couldn't have it all. I mean, and now all you have is your money to tell you I love you and tuck you into bed at night and have your 3 pit bulls and drink wine and fucking like gobble down Klonopin.
With that in mind, because mentioning
millennials, listen, millennial women are gonna be on this insane money-driven power ego trip, and their Instagram is gonna resemble R9K, but women of certain like income brackets, and it's gonna be like slovenly,
right? And you're looking at it from their perspective and going like, oh well, all of this will happen to them. As somebody who has been hooking up with and dating millennial girls for a while, as one myself, and now knows millennial women who are still trying to do the whole, like, I'm going to hold out, or I'm going to sleep around, or I'm going to X and Y. Like, I am completely and happily resigned to the idea of never settling down.
Monoxis is not a family man.
And dying alone. So when these millennial women, as you put it, hit that wall and go, wait, why is there no one left? Because millennial men don't give a shit about that anymore. We've given up on it. Oh, you want to wait until you're 40 to settle down? I will take all my earnings by that time, buy a cabin in the woods, and live off of what I can.
He will eat what he catches with his bare hands.
And I will die young, knowing that I didn't succumb to the world around me. And I'm fine with that. I'll let the abuse of my body and the alcoholism and the living off of, like, root vegetables and, like, things I kill only slowly kill me.
I hope by then, oh no, there is all Monoxis, stop having premarital sex.
No. It's all I've ever had, and I'm not going to
So listen, eventually his drinking is going to get so terrible he doesn't even stream, but then, like, his Twitter ends up becoming famous.
Why wouldn't I? I'll just, like, have the camera on while I sit, like...
he live stream his liver replacement.
Turn the lights off, and it's just like, all right, what are you doing? 8 hours of me just...
Not even... And you hear... Brum, brum, brum. Go away.
Fuck off. I don't want to talk to you. I just want you to watch. But my point is, I've met these people who are like, later. And I think that's a very millennial thing. Later, I'll get to it later.
I don't know, Generation X did a lot of that.
I'm sure it's like just a younger, like a more modern look at things. Later. I'm not going to be married by 20. I'm not going to have kids at 25. We're looking at it and being like, 40 I'll settle down and have kids because, like, I want to enjoy while I can. And then, like, by the time I'm, like, in my 60s and I'm decrepit and dying because I've abused my body my entire life as a dumb millennial, and the kids are old enough, I'm like, yeah! Fend for yourself. Go. Now get... But, I mean, I can't imagine that those people don't realize that, like, you are driving towards a wall. Mm-hmm. I see that wall very clearly. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to hit a certain point where, like, I'm no longer going to be attractive. And if I'm not, like, super rich, wealthy, like, tough lord, hot boy, like, it's going to fall off and I'm going to have nothing but, like, my alcoholism, cigarettes, exercising, and whatever the fuck I, like, have within arm's reach. Like, that lifestyle dies. But I will give you, I think that there are women in the world who are looking at it and going, no. And then I settle down with a nice guy, and it's like, when all the nice guys are millennial doomers,
no, but
we're gonna like
no. I have a point to pick with you.
We're not just gonna hit the wall. We're gonna speed up.
No, but you say the women who marry nice guys. Okay, now here lies, like, problem number 2. So half of those marriages are just gonna end
legally
up
actionable.
Dare coming in like Anton Chigurh, dude. My God.
But just, you know, because
like,
I know them, and you know what? And some of them, like, what if someone looks at the lifestyle you've lived and they don't want, and it's like, and for some they're like, fuck it, like, it's not over the head, it's just fuck it. So, and I'm in the fuck it group where it's like, don't you want to settle down in the kids and the house and the fence and the 401k? And I'm like, if I'm over 60 years old and alive, how?
Because, well, at that point, you know why? Like, asking a 65-year-old man to do that is just desperation, in all due respect.
I mean, in general, though, the idea of, hey, don't you want to...
Oh, you have to mute viewers? You have to censor it?
No, we don't. It's fine.
He has to censor it, right?
It's fine. We're not censoring shit.
All right, fine.
But I'm just saying other perspective on it. Because there are some, and yes, the ones you're talking about totally exist, where, like, they're going to have the, you know, wow moment where they think that they can just recoup from this.
I'd like to believe some eggs were unfrozen, but then even if you're able to unfreeze an egg properly, and it does end up getting inseminated, now we enter this entire realm where, okay, like, if you freeze it and then you bring it back to life by warming it up but not microwaving it, you just kind of, like, let it, like, thaw in the sink, you know? So, because you can't, like, imagine like you freeze some eggs and then you put it in the microwave to speed it up, and then you, like, you know, you inseminate it, and then it grows up to be, like, 10 feet tall and glowing like a light bulb.
I think that's how it works.
I'm gonna make it work.
And if we want 10 feet tall glowing humans, we need to let gene editing happen.
No, what you do is you take some frozen eggs and you put it in a microwave, but you put the popcorn setting.
Which I think it's kind of weird to think about this, completely off topic, but for all of my anti-furry sentiment, one day people are going to be able to edit themselves to have animal-like traits.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see anything wrong with that. Which, I mean, I only bring up the furry thing because those two conversations tend to intersect a lot.
And they overlap.
So, but I don't see it. I don't see how a person being a redacted in a fursuit is the same as me being like, I kind of want to have skin as tough as rhino skin. You know?
I gotta clean your ear, Betsy. Oh, okay.
Like, I would love to
Betsy
just have, like,
won't.
rhino flesh and, like, gills.
What kind of
lungs?
What kind of world map insane RPG like shenanigans are you planning on
Well, I'm
getting
just saying, like,
yourselves
not
into?
for me. I'm alive now. We don't have a gene editing, but like, imagine.
But if we did, why the fuck would you? What are you gonna like enter a gladiator arena where you fight other animal men?
No, it's just because like tough ass skin. You know.
What if it gets in the way of lifting?
I don't think it would.
You don't know that.
Rhinos are pretty tough bitches. Like, I don't know.
But you don't. How do rhinos lift? They only have like cylinders for feet.
I'm just saying, like, having stronger skin would not make your muscle tissue.
Oh man, like if a woman gets fingered by an elephant, she dies.
Yeah, but like with that in mind, like the muscle growth of like I don't know a gorilla.
That's kind of. Imagine a gorilla learning how to lift weights.
Imagine a human with gorilla muscle, rhino skin. I don't know, tiger claws.
I remember.
We're talking about like some anime nonsense, like monstrosities. But
I remember watching. I remember watching this video on YouTube where they had this like strongman from England, like a record-setting strongman.
Yeah.
All right. And he was like, on top of being a strongman, you like like for strongman proportions, like you're fucking huge.
Okay.
Like, all right. Well, it turns out there's such a thing called the Hercules gene.
Sure.
It exists in two places. One, in humans. We'll get to that. But two, you ever see pictures of cows that are like unnecessarily fucking brolic and diesel?
Yeah.
Those are a breed of cow that
100%.
lives somewhere in Belgium. And they have a specific gene defect that turns them into that.
Like hypermuscular. Interesting.
So.
See, and imagine if we could just activate that in everybody.
So.
And everyone can be lean and sexy.
Well, you mean instead of like...
And we can have real body positivity because we just edit humanity to look good.
So you just want all of humanity to look like Giga Chad?
Sure, why not? I mean, it's better than the alternative. Like, what do we have now? Obesity rates that give us heart disease?
You know what's crazy? More people have... Okay, listen, let's be honest.
What's wrong with being Giga Chad? He's sexy.
No. I would like to know something. What are people dying more of in the United States these days? Is it obesity-related deaths, or is it starvation and not having enough to eat? Because for so many years, not having enough to eat was how lots of people died all the time. But now, like, you know...
That's a good question, actually.
Like, how many people are dying in the United States more of? Like,
I think it's heart disease, though. I think Darren's right. I do think, because here's the thing. Obesity doesn't just have a disease that kills you. Obesity is attached to, like, 6 of the world's biggest killers.
Yep.
So starvation's not. I mean, here we don't have a starvation problem.
You don't.
No, we have low income problems. But food-wise, we have too much food.
How many? Well, but I'd like to believe there are homeless people starving.
Oh no, there's a disparity of wealth where if you don't have money, you can't get food and eat. There are places where there's just no fucking food.
Oh, now Dare chimes in with Americans don't have a starvation problem. Okay, so we have to stay overweight, so India has a starvation problem. Maddie CC goes, Ready Rock is not food. You take that back, all right, you limey jerk. I'll see you in Piccadilly Circus at 9 p.m. Be there.
But if I had to assume, obesity, 100%, because when you say like death by obesity, you mean death by heart disease, stroke, seizures,
heart attack,
liver disease. Yeah, like there's a list of things that kill you from obesity.
Diabetes is also a factor.
Diabetes is up there.
Oh no,
a lot. So like obesity deaths account for a wave of problems, where starvation is a low income problem, which we have plenty of that here.
Right,
we have a lot of that here. Depends on where you are, though. Technically.
I'd like to believe like there are a lot of like tubelards in America to make up for people starving outside in the world outside of America. Mary CC, gracias por tu presencia.
America is one of the few places where our lower class, like our poor, live better than the middle and sometimes upper class of other countries.
Listen, there are parts of the world where like people living in the projects have it better than someone in like Sudan.
Yes.
Somewhere in like Liberia,
India.
There are a lot of like honestly, let's be honest.
There's a long list of places.
Most of India.
I'm not saying all of it, but like
most of it.
It's a place where it's like no, even if you're well off there, the hood over here is better.
In fact, like just look at like most of Central America.
Yeah.
That's where the MS-13 comes from.
Which is also why we have one of the highest obesity rates in the world.
Well, one of the reasons for that is corn syrup and everything.
And poor food choices.
Yeah, and you know...
accessibility, lack of exercise, people thinking that they can blame the quarantine on being fat.
Well, listen.
I was locked inside for a year, so when I had the option to go and exercise and eat healthy, I was like, nah, I'll do it later. That's Americans.
Hey, you know what's important? As a matter of fact, Chinese lung herpes, one of the greatest victim tally rates were people who were obese. All right? That's a segue for you. And you know what else? There are these vaccines that are, you know...
Well, I was going to say, since we're talking about... Because, like, realistically, like... We're talking about America.
You could go on YouTube right now and watch a video on how you can fight bioweapons with bioweapons. All right.
Oh, so we're doing vaccines. We're going because I was going to say we can use that conversation to either lean into China or vaccines.
Oh, I would just if we can just discuss vaccines.
I'm cool with vaccines. So hold on. When we say vaccines, I think the immediate assumption is we're going to talk about the virus of unknown origin.
Chinese lung herpes.
Virus of...
Oh, but there's also the Spanish flu. There's also MERS. There are diseases and viruses that come from parts of the earth.
You have to say nice things about China or they'll cancel us.
Food's not bad.
No, like about China, not America.
Oh.
Not Chinese American. About China.
Oh, they pretty good fentanyl.
That's not a nice thing.
Let's see.
We'll save it for the China conversation. Let's talk about vaccines.
You know, I've never met anyone else.
I'll let you think about nice things to say about China.
I've never met anyone else who could subvert the university and motion picture industry of a host nation with student associations and universities from sea to shining sea that just are there to undermine its host nation. I mean, they're really good at that.
So you're going to have to... So now
they're not the only one. I mean, like China, like they've been slacking ever since like 91.
So China,
it's not their fault.
China then.
Oh, China number one in that regard, all right?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about China if you want to talk about China.
No, we're going to be talking about vaccines. Now, hear me out, all right?
Okay, vaccines. All right, do you want to talk about vaccines in general, or do you want to talk about the COVID one first?
All right, we're going to put this on pause for just a moment, all right? You want to know why? AFDH chimes in with, the real reasons are too little cheese and low-fat milk. Don't tell anyone AFDH, but skim milk, like we just... Okay, this is what we do.
People drink skim milk?
We take gallon jugs of whole milk, all right?
Yes.
And then we pour, like...
Water.
50% out.
Water.
And then we drink it for whatever we want. And then we fill the jug with water, and that's skim milk.
I mean, I've never looked into the process, but I wouldn't be surprised. People drink anything other than whole milk?
Yes, there's 2% milk.
No, I know it exists, but every time I go to get milk, the whole milk is what's going. And then there's like...
The wiener milks?
Sure, wiener milk works. Skim milk, low fat.
The weakling milk?
Nut milk. Soy milk.
No. Reminder:
not milk.
There's no such thing as soy milk because there's no soy tit. It's soy juice, but you can't sell soy juice. That's the world we live in. There's no such thing as soy milk. Don't get cucked by language being pushed onto you from the top down.
No, I agree with that 100%. And like this is something that, having been in the personal training nutrition world. I hate when people are like, I want the oat milk, and I'm like, it's oat juice.
Right.
I want the nut milk. I mean, it's nut. And nut water.
Why not just call? The closest thing to actual oat milk is horchata, which is what you get.
But still,
even though it's not milk,
it's not
I get
milk.
it. I get it.
Yeah,
but
There are things absent.
If you're going to get not milk right, let it be horchata, all right?
But it's just, it doesn't, I don't understand why we can't just call it what it is.
Oat juice.
But I don't get it.
All right, now hang on, ladies and jerks. Maddie CC goes.
718 TV wants you to buy the good stuff. Big Milk strikes again.
And you know why? Because of inflation. All right, it's happening. All right.
You know what?
Here's an example of inflation. Before it starts to directly affect hard figures, before you know it, like A of the H. Let's say you go to a supermarket and the paper towels are like $1.85, and the paper towels are 200 sheets.
Oh,
a couple of weeks or even months from now, you're gonna go buy those paper towels, and now it's like 160 sheets, but it's still $1.85. Those are the first signs of inflation. Granted, paying more for less has been a reoccurring standard within the whatever you want to call it, the Great Depression 2.0, the Greatest Depression, the Second Great Depression, the Big Sad. The point is, you too can see inflation happen in real time. Look at the paper towel count now, and then look at the paper towel count months from now. You heard it here first. So, Maddie CC chimes in with, John Woo in a court of law is all Maddie CC back from making NTFs and ranking in straight cash while farming that BTC. He has 17 people that are totally not Chinese and totally not speaking Cantonese, screaming at the top of their lungs at Maddie CC going, "Oi, mate, the beatings improve until morale improves." All right? So, Maddie chimes in with, I don't know the figures, but I imagine it'd be very low starving in a first world country. Although, I'd like to believe like 3 people starve every year, bare minimum, in the United States. There's got to be 3, right?
The only reason why...
Three. Give me 3.
The only reason why starvation's an issue in a first world country is because it shouldn't be happening at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a matter of like, if it's happening, it is. How?
Okay.
How does one 500-pound lard ass gets to eat enough food to maintain themselves, and someone has to die by not being able to eat?
What if the person is mentally ill and homeless?
Right, but they should still be able to get food.
That's...
When Tons of Fun can eat 6 people's calories in a day.
Right.
Casually.
But...
Casually.
Every year.
Because I'm talking about low-income people that are obese.
Every
year.
How
is that a thing?
Well, how do you have fat vegans? How is that a thing?
Because vegans can still eat cheese. And bread.
And eat Takis and drink vodka.
Things that make you fat. Just because you're a vegan, you think you're healthy? No. You're just eating not good food most of the time.
You know what fights vegans and orthorexia nervosa? Cheeseburgers, all right? That's how you fight them. There should be
a fat tax, Caroline, 100%. Because it's a fucking killing our, like... Why do you think our insurance is so hard to get for, like, medical coverage? Because 70% of the population needs constant attention because they're overweight.
Although one statistic most people never seem to bring up is how the increase in sugar in cereals that were bought for children to consume, it ends up going in a 45-degree angle.
To make them addicted.
Like, all right, and on top of this, because they're consuming so much sugar and they can't sit the fuck still, the prescribed medication rate of like Ritalin and other such like medications, the Bureau of Statistics, the Department of Health, name any search engine and America, blah 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 blah, and then go to www.imalwaysright.com, and you too can find the consumption of sugar in children in America from the 90s and beyond, along with American children being prescribed medication for ADD, ADHD, even though back in the day, like, children just never sat the fuck still. And now children can't sit the fuck still, and then they're given medication. There's a Simpsons episode about this. It's pretty good, actually. So, Maddie CC is all, here in the UK, it's hard not to get skimmed milk. We have Blue Top, which is like 90% water. Blue Top?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of gross.
That is kind of gross. I mean, like... Well, here's the thing, Maddie. To what degree is the United Kingdom farmland? Because, of course, like, yeah, in the United States, you know, here's like, okay, for your camera view, here's California, and here's the eastern seaboard. So, of course, there's a lot of farmland in the Midwest, but you could just drive to upstate New York and see farms. You could drive to Long Island and see farms.
Yeah.
You know, there's even farms in the tri-state area.
Well, to be fair, America was also founded on cattle
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
So
and not wanting to pay taxes.
Us having an abundance of milk makes sense.
So, right for like strong calcium strength and high T red meat fucking.
Because we built entire economies on cow.
Listen, and you know what? Like, America was the first country to be like, hey, is it hiding if is it cheating if I hide behind this rock? And it's just like 40 dudes in a hill.
But that also explains why we have such a big like milk industry, I think.
That is true.
Just
I mean, it's never.
cows.
Well, and then well, I mean, it was built into the foundation.
Yes.
And it only got better because once America claimed Texas, then you got all the cows.
Oh no, that means Biden's dumbass red meat thing's gonna affect my milk.
You see?
I'm not drinking that redacted milk.
Monoxis is gonna have to start buying. In fact, hey, if you haven't followed, follow, because you too can follow Monoxis when he streams live, having to buy whole milk in the black market from the back of a white utility van with no license plates, idling at 1 a.m. right behind Key Food near the redacted train station.
I can't buy like milk in bulk like people can buy fucking menthol cigarettes. Like, I'm fucked. They can just stockpile now.
He's gonna be buying like illicit, like, pure yogurt, like smuggled in from Greece, and like
God, he's meeting affect the yogurt.
He's meeting some like 80-year-old like in like a black shawl, screaming at him in Greek, like shoving him, and then like he shakily exchanges like money for like all this Tupperware of yogurt.
It's okay, goat milk will still exist, and we'll make it work.
You sure?
Oh, well, because everyone's worried about red meat. They don't give a fuck about goat.
You see, in the Caribbean and in Greece, goat. Even though some people don't like goat meat, I get that. And goat milk doesn't taste like cow milk, but calcium is calcium is calcium.
Protein.
I mean, and that too. I'm just saying.
That's what I'm worried about. You get rid of cows, you're taking away a lot of the protein that people get.
Black market yogurt. Listen.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that.
Before you know it, he's gonna have to go into like, secret like backdoor dealings where they have like Greek mobsters so he can get Saganaki.
Nah, Biden's not going to make it that long.
Really? Are you... Well, okay. On a scale from 1 to America, how worried are you that your dairy intake is going to be compromised
0
because of this? Really?
Texas exists. Texas is not getting rid of cows.
Well...
The price will go up, but it's not going anywhere.
Okay. So that being said...
And I will pay a premium for milk.
That being... Oh, but what if it tampers with your yogurt? You can't have it all.
I mean, I'll pay a premium for both. I'll make my own fucking yogurt.
You heard it here first. Oh, and because you don't have a license to make your own yogurt, the ATF is going to be like storming through your fucking place, caking down your door with like MP5s and like tactical gear.
You're giving these like weird environmentalist people.
They're going to extraordinary rendition him to some like abandoned brick factory outside of Kabul, and like they go through his browser history, and he's like, image boards. The only boards that work are water boards.
You're giving them
as they're like waterboarding him.
You're giving them too much credit. These people can't stop anything, realistically. Like, remember when we were like, let's stop pirating stuff, and that never happened?
And then it turns out they have the wrong Monoxis because they're looking for Monoxis, but with the I at the end.
They just, like, even if they do...
Monoxis. And then, he's scarred for life and got tortured, and they plucked out his toenails with pliers.
Even if this actually goes all the way with the whole, like, red meat, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Because he made his own yogurt, that's against the law.
They're not going to get rid of dairy products. They're going to get rid of killing and eating cow.
Then why can't you do it for your religion then? Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like, dairy products are not going to be...
Go First Amendment!
By red meat. It's going to be the eating of red meat.
No, and God forbid if they try to come and take our cows. We're going to eat our cows as per the First Amendment, because you shall not infringe on the freedom of press, freedom of religion. We're going to shoot diversity, and we're going to have a gun that shoots tornadoes at people, because the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a tornado gun is a good guy with a tornado gun.
Chat wants to know what we think of raw milk.
Raw milk. I've never drank raw milk, so I'm really sorry. I have eaten raw cheese before, and there is a difference in taste, and it's one of the greatest tasting things in the world. But I have not drank raw milk.
I know of it, but
what is your guys' opinion on pure milk, no filtration?
That's what I'm saying, raw milk.
Oh man, but Maddie, if it's frowned upon in the UK, can you explain? Is it because of like cultural norms, and where like you're a crazy backwards North knuckle dragging Neanderthal for just drinking the milk raw and not taking it pasteurized, or is it because I don't know. I can't think of any other reason why in the UK they would frown upon that. Although it is not improbable.
Because of health regulations.
Even here in the United States, if you drink raw milk...
apparently raw milk can give you salmonella, E. coli, listeria. Like...
raw milk is regarded unsafe everywhere. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never had it, and knowing that, I mean, something as simple as, you can get salmonella or E. coli from it. Like, all right, don't...
Hey, I want you to meet my lawyer, salmonella.
Don't drink it. Why would you? Is there any benefit to drinking it?
Don't be a bitch and grow the mutants.
Yeah, except salmonella doesn't really give a fuck about your
Although
system.
if you overcome salmonella, do you get like plus 15 resistance against like fire, ice, and poison? Because if you do dare, you gotta let me know. Don't sit on that information.
No, you just get salmonella, and if you don't take negative penalties from the salmonella, you can just get salmonella again. It's not one of those things. Same thing with like E. coli.
Can you hook me up with some water?
No.
All right, fine. Well, either way, I'm gonna go just step outside for just a moment. Because you can't do things on camera.
If I die, I die.
The Amish drink it and they have a good immune system and have less allergies. Well, hey, you know what? Like, for what it's worth...
I don't know if I would trust any relevant information that the Amish release to the public is probably not trustworthy.
You have to give the Amish at the very least a little bit of credit because there's some communities that live right outside town. They have things that they need, and they do go to supermarkets. They just choose to limit how they take in that the global algorithm-driven marketing surveillance mind control grid. They choose how little.
I don't know if I trust them though.
Are eatings Maddie
eating raw eggs? Yes, raw eggs also have disease.
That raw eggs are how you get salmonella. In fact, making chocolate mousse exposes you to the risk of salmonella because one of the ingredients is raw egg.
Yep.
So,
no, you don't have to make
However, remember
like the what is it, pasteurized eggs.
Remember in Rocky when he just cracked all those like eggs?
He probably wasn't eating raw egg. You can get eggs that you can eat raw.
Right, but you remember Rocky.
Yes, but I'm not, they didn't give him fucking eggs that were dangerous.
Dare, what the hell are you doing, man?
Undercooked is different from not cooked at all, though. Like there's
I'm stepping away for just a moment, all right?
Yeah, because Haynes has to do things that Twitch doesn't like, and I'm gonna sit right under chat. You might never get salmonella. You might be the one person that just keeps eating things that'll give them salmonella and then never get it. It's entirely possible. It's not that you can always get it. It's just that it's a health risk to eat things like that. That's why we cook our food.
That's true.
In general. Milk, eggs, the same thing, except they hold a higher risk, especially if you live in this country where the standard for animal safety and cleanliness is atrocious.
Well,
you cook everything when you're here. I'm sure it's worse in places like China, for instance, where they have wet markets.
Well, they have cuisine that is not quite deceased.
Well, I'm just, it's all about how you handle and prepare the food. You could be immune. You could be the rare exception. There are people who are immune to like HIV and AIDS because they have like black plague in their system from, their generations of family, apparently. That's a thing. But, I just wouldn't trust, most uncooked foods. Shit, even if, people have gotten E. coli because motherfuckers got dirty hands and touched their lettuce.
Alright, so
you know what I'm saying?
I'm off camera. Alright, you see that? Can you just put that over there?
You gotta,
There you go.
You gotta wash your food and you have to cook your food. Otherwise, you're gonna end up hurting yourself in the long run.
I'm gonna grab some water. You stubborn jerk.
I just don't want to go over there. It's out of the way. I gotta, use the pump.
You're not wrong. And then it'll be dead air, and you can't have that.
Well, I don't mind. You're the one that has an issue with having no one on camera.
Hey, you can't.
What do you mean? I can... Can't have no one on camera. What are you talking about? Watch me have no one on camera. Watch no one be on camera this entire time. What are you gonna do about it, huh? Can't stop it. Now there's just cows on camera. Haynes telling me I can't have nobody on camera. Out of his goddamn mind. Nobody on camera. What's up? Everyone's taking a break. So before we stopped this, we were talking about vaccines. We recently released a video which showed, what was that shit? Apparently, one of the vaccines, I think it was the Pfizer one, has like a living organism in it, which is kind of fucky. What are people saying now? Oh, never mind. That's the Autobot. Oh, I gotta read that shit. Oh no. That's a problem. It's gonna unfocus. Can't unfocus on the cows, though. Where are you, Mask? Ugh. Ah. Alright, I'm back. I won't leave you folks with nothing to look at. That's unfair. See, Haynes? I laid on the floor and got out of frame for like a minute there, and nothing bad happened. AFH, once both of them die, this is how they will be honored. 2 masks at half-mast in front of cow footage. It's entirely possible. See, now that would make Twitch upset.
Okay.
Just having no context in front of things. You're also going to ruin the focus.
You see that? How does that look?
Terrible. No, horrible. You can't see anything.
Although, honestly, like, A of the H, that would be a hell of a way to go out. As the mortal coil of Monoxus and Stained Hands are severed, and each of us go to our proper place that is beyond purgatory and the prison of meat. Like, you're gonna see, like, 2 masks at half-mast, lazily floating in the wind.
There you go. That's what he's been impaled on. The coffee.
Yeah, I'm drinking coffee. You see that? I'm drinking coffee. You jerk.
Thermos of death. So, I'm going to go back to vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe you want to talk about those. But did you, like I could ask, do you want to talk about the current vaccines?
I would like to talk about, well, okay.
Or vaccines in general.
Wow.
It's kind of a tricky topic. Because, like, regular vaccines are pretty trustworthy.
Well, I don't want...
Current vaccines are questionable.
I would like to discuss current vaccines in terms of, like, there's one vaccine where it gives you a heart attack. And
yes.
There's one vaccine where your uterus just gets catapulted out of your birth hole. And there's one vaccine where it might even be the same one where, like, if you've hit the wall, now you got a period again. And there's one vaccine where your face looks like you're James Cagney with a stroke, and you're all like, meh, see? Like, one vaccine makes your face look like what my mask looks like right now over there.
Well, if you want to backtrack on how we got here,
yeah,
which is kind of important, let's not forget that I want to say 2 things happened. 2 big things happened on a global scale. Number one, during the pandemic, we had 2 global organizations,
mm-hmm.
the CDC and the WHO.
I gotta stay out of camera.
You're fine. Who did not know what the fuck was going on. To the extent of, back in 2019, late 2019, they were in, China, and they were looking into this virus that nobody knew about. And there was nothing to worry about. And then by March, there was something to worry about. Mm-hmm. But don't worry about wearing masks. Just distance yourself. And then masks were a thing. And I think recently we got masks don't do shit, distance doesn't do shit, take the vaccine.
Wasn't WrestleMania taking place in Florida and, like, not everyone was wearing a mask?
Well, yeah, but my point is, so you have these groups that don't know what the fuck they're doing, who are leading the charge, who are also the reason why we had rushed vaccines. 3 vaccines, 2 of which are experimental, where the guy who was developing it spent, he spent 20 years developing mRNA vaccines, if I remember correctly, 10 of which was just the scientific community being like, y'all want some funding for this mRNA shit? And they were like, no. This is like, no. And 10 years of no, no, no. And then other scientists were like, if you can get that shit to work, it'd be bomb.
Very, very much in the vein of vaccines, though, I would like to take a moment and bring up that Dr. Anthony Fauci, much like many sinister people in history, his tenure working for the federal government goes way back. When the AIDS crisis happened, he was one of the people in charge for research. And in 1989, an open letter was written by a bunch of, like, activists and doctors and all these other people. And they were like, you've needlessly killed thousands of people. You need to get your shit together. this is wrong.
Yeah.
And he didn't bother. So now he's in charge of the American
pandemic,
coochie flu emergency response team.
Yes.
And now fucking theater kids who weren't bullied into oblivion are now fucking cutting numbers on TikTok for attention, and even doing it in like city council, local politic level, weird, bizarre, viral, shitty, astroturfed, media, psychic barrage juggernaut. No, it's gross. And you know what? I hate Chinese lung herpes for that.
Well, I don't really know if I hate the virus for that, because the virus is just a virus.
No, but eventually the virus is going to start paying taxes. It's going to want to vote. Has anyone asked what the virus wanted? No.
That's because that's dumb. It's a virus.
That's because you like to think of yourself as a pragmatist. All right, I get it.
No, I think that, like, well, first of all, there was an overreaction to a flu-like virus.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so you've got, we've got a man in charge here anyway. The rest of the world doesn't care about Fauci.
Right.
Here, Fauci, a man who has made questionable decisions, and two global organizations who have backtracked multiple times on what they need to do about this virus, who fast-tracked a experimental vaccine type that ended up having adverse effects, as everyone assumed it would, and then went, whoops.
You know when I knew the virus. Listen, and you know what? And no one is held accountable. How convenient.
Well, because all of this is considered under an emergency. So because there's an emergency, there is no accountability when things go wrong. And more recently, there were a couple of different bits of information that got out about countries and some island nations who, after getting vaccinated, now have higher infection and death rates, which doesn't necessarily correlate to the vaccine doing it, more so that people got the vaccine and either A, it doesn't do what it's supposed to, and they went out and did their thing and got sick, B, got vaccinated and still got sick from the vaccine, or C, got one of the two doses, and then went out and was like, yo, what's up? I'm immune to the COVID-19. And then COVID-20 was like, hey, what's up, son? That vaccine doesn't do shit. Go get the booster.
And COVID-21's like, I heard you were talking shit.
Yeah, so now we're in the phase of every fucking 6 months you have to get a booster for a new strain of COVID for the rest of your life.
And then COVID-22 is like Juggernaut from Deadpool 2. I'm ripping you in half now.
Yeah, so as far as those vaccines go, they're questionable. They do what they're supposed to.
I do think it is a little bit strange how now. All right, John Mulaney, and I don't. You see, this got swept under the rug because like there's this comedian who's like, all right, he's mildly funny. Sometimes he's really funny at best, but you know when someone goes into paycheck mode and you're like, oh, like you're at the top of the mountain of mediocrity, like Jay Leno, you know. So John Mulaney is in paycheck mode. And he went to rehab, and then like 8 days after he got out of rehab, he's doing shows.
Yes,
like a couple of shows, and like.
And in order to go to his shows, you have to either have a negative test to get in, like a recent negative test, or a vaccine record. That. Yeah.
Okay, so
that's going to be normal for the next year.
Right, and it's strange because like it's ever so quietly nestled and buried and like, hey, not funny guy, you might have seen him on the SNLs, he was in the rehabs, he's gonna talk live. Also required, you have to have proof of vaccine.
I mean, you're gonna need proof of vaccine to do anything for a while.
Imagine you take it to its most conceited extremes and there are people all around the world that will never be able to leave their host countries because they don't take the vaccine.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. You can't travel without the vaccine. You can't go to live shows without the vaccine. You can't go to theme parks without the vaccine. You can't go to anything that isn't essential, sans vaccine. Until this whole virus situation.
But then what if you can't get essentials until you've had the vaccine?
Well, no, essentials you can go and get. You can go to the supermarket regardless. Supermarkets didn't close when the fucking pandemic kicked off.
This is true.
Like, you can stay home and go and do your business and go to work. If you want to do fun things and other stuff.
Oh, yeah, as long as you're paying taxes and you're just a fucking useless eater that never wants to leave your country, you could do whatever you want, you jerk.
Well, I mean, I understand where they're coming from because we still have a problem with this virus. There's still too much of it all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
My issue with the vaccine is that because we rushed it, I have to take 16 of them in order to be immune, and all 16 are going to have some weird fucking side effect. I don't want to take 16 different vaccines for 16 different strains and get potentially any number of side effects from these rushed vaccines. I would rather us just admit that we need either no lockdown and survival of the fittest kicks in, or we give ourselves, like a listen, everybody, welcome to 3 years of being in lockdown so we can get a vaccine that just does what it's supposed to. Wow. But that was never on the table. 3 years of lockdown was never on the table because of the economy.
Well, what makes it very difficult, though...
So why even have a lockdown in the first place if we were just going to half-ass it?
Oh, well, I mean, you could pass sweeping legislation on the piggybacking of this unnecessary... Like, think about it. Like, I'm pretty sure Congress or Senate has voted or passed bills that have went under the radar because everyone's too busy.
There's a bunch of shit that, like, nobody noticed happening.
Hey, ladies and jerks in chat, I would like you to let us know what are things going on in your neck of the woods that are flying under the radar, even though they're happening, like, and it's very evident that they're happening. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, the cost of basic necessary goods in Canada, like, if you think we're paying more for less here in the United States, in Canada, the price of common everyday items in supermarkets, it's obscene. Like, more than half of Canadians are living paycheck to paycheck. Imagine more than half of a country living paycheck to paycheck. And now Monoxis is blurry. And now, and then...
You're making it worse. Go ahead, camera.
And then here comes the Cyclops.
It has to go. This is causing problems now.
Okay.
I assume, because the camera's trying to focus and has too many things to focus on. But John Woo says, yeah, like, why the fuck should I have to take 16 different fucking shots and then die from the untested bullshit? You might not even die. You might just have, like, a dumb side effect. But why do I have to take all of these? Because instead of just waiting and testing it properly and then going, oh, well, there's going to be variants, we have to prepare for variants as well. No, that's not what happens. It's the same way flu shots get pumped out constantly and you don't have to take them. That's an option. Why is this being forced? It's not going away. They're going to be variants for the rest of our lives. You're never going to hear the end of COVID strains moving forward.
I remember.
But now they want to make it, like, temporarily mandatory because that's just not going to last forever.
I remember
it's going to fall off.
We were making our way back from filming at the weed rally. You said that you felt that at the end this would turn into, like, there's flu season and there's COVID season.
Oh yeah, we're going to have COVID season. Where flu season pops off in cold weather. Mm-hmm. You know, it's the fall to winter transition is the flu season, which doesn't really make sense, I guess, to me. I mean, I guess maybe because people are catching colds and then not realizing, or here anyway, it's because you get a cold and you have to go to work anyway. Right. And if you have the flu, you're fucking spreading it. At least COVID, it mostly spreads from human contact and, like, people coughing in their hands and then touching everything. So COVID season would just be whenever people are more active. It would be warm weather, you know, whenever people put their hands on stuff when they shouldn't. So COVID season will definitely be a thing. It's not going away. These strains are not going to stop.
That's unemployment cat.
No, he's just going to leave now. You let him in, and he's going to leave. Just watch the wires, because if you unplug something, it's going to be a problem.
All right, now take that, unemployment cat. You see, Business Cat had a long, illustrious career as an economic hitman. Now
he's just going to leave.
See, there you go.
He realizes that there are things happening in here that aren't pets and treats, and then he's like, nah, I'm good. He'll be back, don't worry. He always comes back.
All right, someone start a timer to see how much time until unemployment cat comes back.
He'll get bored. But yeah, I mean, so as far as...
Start a timer.
He's gonna come back.
As far as these, I mean, we have technically a timer there, you know. AFDH. Okay, Indonesia. Nobody's doing masks and stuff. Only government workers get vaccinated. If you go to a public event, they have a guy that walks around and makes you wear a mask for group pictures and promo pictures of the event that you can post on social media. Otherwise, it's fair game. No mask. With the capital city being the model example where everything is super strict. All right. I mean, here we were very strict about masks. Now we're we're slowly getting away. Like I think they're saying July, fully open, no masks.
Really?
July. New York, anyway. Not the whole country. New York. July, fully open, no masks. And vaccine passports are only going to be for travel. Unless specifically, like, a venue, technically. Like, I'm pretty sure the John Mulaney thing, I don't think that was him. That's the venue.
Okay.
Because now the venue has to pay insurance premiums if they get COVID outbreaks for reopening.
Right, but it is kind of funny how now if I want to get like ramen with my homie for lunch, number one, like they ask you to like give like a name, a phone number, an email address, and of course I'm typing in like John Johnson from Wisconsin, and my email address is bigbabyjesus@gmail.com, and just giving like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 as my phone number. Like I just and they scan they shoot your head, your forehead with the fucking measurement radiant gun.
Yep. Well, I mean, I don't care about the information thing, because at the bare minimum, like, the only time I've ever even seen that information book get used, someone else was at the restaurant, and then they ended up having the COVID, and then you end up on, like, an email list or, like, a text chain list, and it's like, hey, you were at this restaurant?
You might want to get tested.
You might want to get tested, like, because someone else came up positive with the...
A of the H, I'm curious, so you're
What's
in
going on,
Southeast
Dr.
Asia.
Hate?
You're all oh, Dr. Hate, what's good? I'm on break right now, so you're just and Monoxis doesn't want an indicator to let people know that I'm on break.
It keeps on focusing the camera.
You see, so you're just gonna have to like don't grab your ankles. It's not SummerSlam. A of the H. So what was kind of crazy is last year there were two things that happened that really stood out to me in regards to the redacted lung herpes. All right, number one, countries like Singapore, Korea, and Japan. Disinfected and hosed down all of their public transportation.
Yeah,
by like
immediately.
March. And the New York City was like in like middle of fucking like sweltering, swampy like July. They're like, I guess we'll clean the train station, and it was 103 years overdue.
Did you ever catch them cleaning it? Like, did you ever watch them do it?
Yeah, it looks like they're preparing for like some awful like invasion or some shit.
I mean, for me, it just because I only saw I saw the in between station cleaning, which was very like lackluster.
Power blasting anything.
Yeah, it was basically just having a water tank, which I assume had like antibacterial and disinfectant chemical in the water tank, and then just like hosing it down. You know, like there was no proper cleaning. It was just disinfect everything.
And whenever the train, to this day now, whenever the train gets to the very last stop, like they always mop the floor with like not just 2 chemicals, but now 3 chemicals.
They should clean the whole fucking train car.
Well, and you know what they don't clean? The handrails.
I mean, yeah, the fucking like the subway platforms are disgusting. Let alone the trains themselves. But at the same time, like, one of my favorite things about the trains, where it was like, oh no, we're just gonna leave the trains open. They have to be open. You can clean those trains up and down. You can clean them in between stations if you want to.
Right.
You know, you can't clean when those doors close and somebody with a virus coughs into the air. You're in a box with an air circulation of that person going into the air.
So my very fair point, but remember when it turns out, oh, you're going to need hand sanitizer for an airborne disease, and that's sold out.
Well, I mean...
This whole thing has been bazoinkers, my friend.
You do need hand sanitizer if you're touching shit, because the only way to get this virus is to touch water droplets from somebody's mouth or nose. I guess technically they're... I think they're like fecal matter. Also transmit it.
Is that what? Yes, fecal matter transmits it. Is that why they said don't touch your eyes?
That's why they said don't touch your face and wash your hands, because you go outside and as you're leaving your building, you touch the door at your apartment to get out. Someone could have coughed on their hand and touched that door. Then you get on the bus And as you're getting on the bus, you grab the handrail to steady yourself, and bam, there could be COVID on that. And then you go to the Metro card machine, and you go to refill it, and you touch the screen, bam, COVID screen.
Right.
Then you touch the rail going up the stairs,
And
COVID rail.
And at some point, you're touching your phone, and it's going to be on your phone.
And then like you're at work, and you're taking money from people, and they have COVID hands. And then you go and you go to the fucking supermarket, and you're looking at like which bottle of seltzer you want, and you're like, oh, I want this one. And like, how do you know someone didn't go to that bottle of seltzer and go like, hey, I kind of, you know what? No, I don't want that anymore. COVID hands. So like the only thing that actually helped with this situation was cleaning your fucking hands.
All right, fair enough.
Because
fair
masks
enough.
don't, unless when you cough like
You mean like
liquid
you
spray.
mean like these kinds of masks? You mean like these kinds of masks?
Yeah, I mean like those kinds of masks.
All right.
Convertible train would fix that issue. Roller coaster trains, yeah. Top down trains.
So AVH.
Or how about, you know what they could have done? They could have let us open the fucking windows on the subway. Remember when the subway had windows that opened?
Right.
And didn't have like purely like air circulating?
Even though they only like open 30 degrees.
Doesn't matter. I'd rather have that than fucking be in a locked box with a fucking... But again, airborne doesn't really matter. It's particles.
It really sucks to be stuck in a train when the air conditioner isn't working.
And you
It's
can't
the
open the
worst thing in
fucking
world.
windows.
So AVH, last year in your neck of the woods, what was happening in February and March? Because sometime around mid-March, everything went into lockdown, and you could walk around New York City, and it looked like a random encounter event was about to happen at any moment, but never did.
Remember when it went on to lockdown, but not really?
It was it was
Stay inside. And I was like, no.
It was kind of
No.
like how like by like before summer started, it was like, wow, there are like people partying in the streets of Steinway.
I was walking around getting drinks. I was going to the park and running the track, hanging out. Stay inside.
People were jogging.
No.
People, it was kind of weird. Like,
it didn't work. And then the numbers reflected it, and then the numbers didn't reflect it because they went down, because everyone that would like get it and get sick and have like hospitalization issues got it. And then it was like, wait, all the people who are at risk are now sick or locked inside? Look at those numbers go down.
So two things happened when this ordeal began. Number one, I remember in February in 2020, where the health commissioner and people who were working under de Blasio's administration were like, go outside, it's safe.
Oh yeah, right at the
worry
gate.
about
Yeah,
it.
they were like, go ahead,
Everything-
it's fine.
Go to Chinese New Year's. Don't be afraid to go to your favorite restaurant.
Chinese New Year's is exactly what was going on when this happened.
Yes.
And there were people who had the China panic because, you know, the virus started in a place that may or may not have been in a redacted country.
Dun dun dun.
And it was like, go to Chinese New Year. Don't worry, the virus isn't here. You have nothing to worry about. It's not that serious.
And there were blue ticks on Twitter that were like, if you don't let an Asian person spit in your mouth, you're racist.
And I think
So,
like
that
a week
was-
later, it was like, oh, nope. Get inside.
And then, right, and 1 week later, the world changed. So that happened. That's one thing that stood out to me. A second thing that stood out to me is I believe it was Malaysia, and they had like a public service announcement, and they were like, ladies, things are bad out there. Don't nag your husband. Look nice. Don't be a cunt. Don't stop nagging. And because there was a global spike in domestic violence all around the world. And I believe Malaysia was the only country that had a public service announcement to directly address it.
Interesting. So, Haynes, you going to get the vaccine?
Probably not.
Okay. Any reason why?
Well, right now, there's no working vaccine that doesn't seem to have some sort of side effect, or we don't even know what's going to do, because how do we know 5 years from now or less? People who have taken a vaccine within this year, up until now, from January 1st of 2021 up until, what is it, May 5th? Cinco de Mayo. All right. Stinko de Mayo. As a matter of fact, hey, let it be known. All right? Like, Mexico's all like, we beat the French. And it's like, who hasn't beaten the fucking French? That's what Stinko de Mayo's about. Although, like, no hate against Mexico. I'm just saying, like, bro, who hasn't beaten the French? Come on. Don't really? We're just drink Corona and then like pick on El Salvadorians all day because we beat the French, and by we I mean Mexicans. No, come on.
I do find it interesting though that people celebrate Cinco de Mayo by being like,
let's eat nachos and drink Corona and like
by appropriating.
Let's get Chipotle.
Yeah, let's eat fucking like nacho bowls.
Let's
and
eat
drink Corona.
Let's eat Americanized Tex-Mex. You know what it's not?
And drink some tequila.
It's not like drinking Modelo Dark as you're eating like tripe soup and like this mountain of rice and beans and chicharron that like abuelita gave you. It's never that.
Not at all.
It's never, you could get things like taquitos in 7-Eleven, and you can also get homemade abuelita taquitos made in an oven in someone's kitchen, and it's better than any convenience store. Like, dude, it just...
Yeah, John, Cinco de Mayo is actually an American holiday. It's a weird one. Whatever. Fuck Cinco de Mayo. Does anyone who isn't like trying to either pander to the Mexican holiday for the sake of actually pandering,
I'm curious,
or just use it to get drunk? Like those are the two people I know.
I'm curious how Cinco de Mayo is panning out, partially because it's not just Spanish, but it's all the Romance languages. But like now there is a sudden resurgence, well, because it comes in waves, of people using the word Latinx or Latinx, which is insane because Spanish is a gendered language, but then again, so are all of the Romance languages. And it is beyond me how now there are people on Cinco de Mayo. You could probably find it on Twitter in 20 seconds or less. There are people who are like, and a happy Cinco de Mayo to my, LGBTQ BIPOC, and that name sounds like the fucking mobile command center for G.I. Joe. A fucking BIPOC. It turns out it's just like people of color, and they're righteously indignant.
Well, it's also not the people who are celebrating the holiday.
Right? No, but like,
anyway.
but if you celebrate it, and if you're like, in fact, like, okay, like you have fair skin, but you're not Caucasian, but like you're gonna be called a filthy, disgusting white man who has perpetuated white supremacy in your ancestors X, Y, and Z. And even though you're gonna explain that like you come partially from immigrant stock, which had nothing to do with the Atlantic slave trade, you're the reason that like the Confederacy happened, and you're the reason they had to have a draft so the Union can take down the Confederacy. Because really, like, no one ever wants to talk about things like, if Hitler didn't spread his forces so like thin, he would have had a fighting chance in some places.
He would have dominated things.
But in the Confederate, like, standpoint, like, they were rocking the shit out of the Union, and then the Union was like, nah, we got a draft.
Yeah.
Like that, they were, and then even then, with the draft on, okay, they kind of took it to them even harder. And then, like, okay, Grant was a functional alcoholic from Ohio. All right? And, what's funny? Grant kept the slaves, and Lee freed his after the war. Fun fact. So, Grant was really good at cavalry bullshit. So, him and, I think it was Burnside. Him and Burnside, pincer attacked the Confederacy, and that was the first time they drew blood against the Confederacy. So then they were like, all right, get all of your troops and go with Grant and Burnside. And then, like, Gettysburg happened, and then more Americans died in that day than any other in history.
Who cares? I don't celebrate Cinco de Mayo because I don't give a shit.
So, and you know what? Like, this guy, perpetuates slavery because look at the color of his skin, and he's oppressing the melanated queens. Look at him.
Even though my ancestors come from Europe.
Where the slavery also happened. How dare you?
Slavery's still happening in Africa, and it's black people enslaving black people.
And even though when the Slavs were enslaved, no one gives a shit.
Yeah, no one cares.
Even though that's how they got their name.
AVH, the COVID went through 3 stages in Indonesia. First, Indonesia had no cases, and it was seen as a divine miracle as China is being punished for genociding their Muslims. Ooh. What happened was that the government kept the cases secret so they can develop a response. Then when the cases started starting, everyone took it very serious because they thought it was some end of the world scenario. John Woo, Monoxus, oppressing my right to chat. I'm not oppressing you, right? Chat all you want.
Yo, John Woo.
I might just ignore you.
John Woo, how about you threaten Monoxus to have a good day?
Technically, he threatened me because it came out red.
Well,
and the cases exploded and people went like, yeah, it's just a flu. And then everyone clocked out of panic mode and moved on while hating the government. That's kind of what happened here, except people then continued the panic mode. Like, we, for the most part, realize it's just kind of a flu. Because even though, like, I know people who are now, like, right now, going to get their vaccines. And I go through the checklist of, like, but what about X thing? And what about Y thing? And what about how you're going to need a third one? And a fourth one? And how about the entire summer we spent out drinking in public and being around people and blah, 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 blah. And
eating and going out to eat in restaurants.
But for some reason that doesn't...
Going to bars and...
It doesn't get in their head. Or, like... When I'm like, it's just some flu shit, and they're like, no, it's not. And I'm like, you have been hanging out with me ever since this started, and no one has gotten sick. No one we know has gotten sick.
I really like AFDH's the divine judgment angle. It's nice that the great Satan of the West finally isn't eating it bad for once, and that like China ends up getting some ridiculous
Oh.
like some cleric rolled a 20 and then that happened.
That comment was continued. The places that got it the worst is the capital, because they locked the people inside of a blank auto center, I guess. A lot of people in low-end service jobs lost their jobs and cannot leave to find a new one. Yeah. The rest of the country is fine. They lock people up in the city perimeters. Yeah, I mean, we didn't really get locked in.
Right.
Because, like, during the pandemic, I took a trip to Boston.
However, early in the pandemic, if you were crossing state lines, you got quarantined for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but that was it. You were still allowed to travel.
Right.
You just had a quarantine every time you went through a state line.
But then afterwards, no one gave a shit.
I mean, I went to Boston during the time when they were quarantining people, and no, I think no one noticed because we just drove straight there. And then when we got there, it was like, yeah, going to a hotel. No one's like, we're not locking ourselves in. Stayed a couple of days, drove over to Maine, drove back. No one batted an eye. No one even noticed. It was there and back. I mean, because we drove, you know, like some people I know tried to fly with, like, even like my mother went to Texas to visit family. And when she got there, they were like quarantine. And she was supposed to go there for a couple of weeks. She got stuck there for over a month.
Wow.
Due to quarantine, because she went there right as Texas got hit hard. And got stuck there. Right. And then when she came back, she got the notice where it was like, so we saw that you flew recently. Guess who's staying inside for 2 weeks? With your Texas COVID.
With your Texas lung herpes.
Yeah, but you know, yeah, there's been I guess I don't understand the vaccine panic. And I've already explained. I had to explain to people, so like, oh, so you're getting your shots? What about like the heart problems? No. What about the blood clots? No. What about the paralysis? No. What about the you're gonna menstruate because you're female? No. What about like the smallpox thing in Israel? No. What about the fact that people are getting the vaccine and still getting sick? No. What about the fact that the vaccine you're getting doesn't count for other strains? And then, but like nothing sticks. What about the fact that we've been out in public and drinking and hanging out and living our lives and without even noticing and no one's gotten sick? I'm still gonna get the vaccine. Like. What?
Some of it is performative. You have to at the very least admit that much.
I mean,
some of it is
I know 2 people that have to get it for work. I understand that. Like, to continue to work, they have to get vaccinated. That makes sense. But I know people who are just getting it.
Oh, because reasons.
Yeah, and they can stay and like continue to live their life without it, and they're just like, because I'm gonna get the vaccine.
So hang on.
I don't care for it.
Well,
I also don't think I need it, and I don't want to get 16 of them. If someone was like, here is the vaccine, it protects you from all strains, I'd be like, I'll consider it. Because clearly you've had to take time to figure out how many strains there are, which ones are dangerous, and how to make a thing that stops them all. Which means it's been researched and tested and developed properly. Not just, hey, we got one and it stops A version. And it's like, but there's like an A through G now. And it's like, this one stops A, this one stops B, just take it.
And you know what? And as all this happened, ladies and jerks, all right, as all this happened, we still haven't figured out a cure for H1N5. All right? All right. So you're watching twitch.tv/Monoxus. And if you haven't followed, that is on you, okay? Because you're watching the best public access television in the 21st century.
Share the stream.
Granted, things are slowly falling apart outside like a slow-motion 77-car pileup in the middle of an abandoned Toys R Us. But you too can sit at the sidelines and enjoy, and not have some sort of irrational thinking that makes you subvert a prime directive. No, because internet atrocity tourism at its finest is when you watch it in its own natural habitat. So I'd like to tell you that we're broadcasting live from the Great Texan Plains, where you could go and order a steak and you're just like, I'm going to cut off what I want and I'm going to ride the rest home. I wish I could tell you that, but we're here at 718 TV Studios. And you're watching here at twitch.tv/Monoxus. So AFDH, so you have been broadcasting live all... So hang on, all right? So, and then the cases exploded, and people went like, yeah, it's just a flu. And everyone clocked out of panic mode and moved on while hating the government. The police got the worst. Okay, so, and they left. Okay, so now, you see, for all intents and purposes, things panned out kind of sort of nicely. But then, you know, considering the size of Indonesia and then like some monstrous bullshit like the United States of America, it's kind of ginormous. There are very few things that are bigger than the United States of America. I think Russia is one of them. It has to be, right? I guess Africa, if you turn it that way. I'm not quite sure. So anyway, it was quite chaotic and strange here because, like Florida, everyone and their greasy-headed granny did not want to put on a mask, and no matter what local
politics and even the state legislature tried to do. No. No one can stop Florida. It is a death continent. It is a magical land that is sort of like an Australia Junior. Florida is a bit strange because the further north you go, the more southern it gets. All right? You heard it here first. For a while, Texas, New York, and California had really terrible numbers. It was strange, especially here in Queens, because over in Elmhurst, and not to, be grimy, but like, how come all these places that had Che people over there, and they had a high count when this all first started, and you could have easily saw footage of them just coughing and rubbing their hands on all sorts of things, and I know you've seen it. Now, don't lie to me, all right? I know you've seen it. So, Mad Moo's on up in the rafters, all Baba Booey. Ah, all right. I hope El Primo has quarter water stashed in a perfectly arranged pyramid up there in the rafters. All right. So, ladies and jerks, I'd wanted to discuss a couple of other things here at Words Mean Things, but we did have technical difficulties earlier. And honestly, everyone who had talking mad shit earlier for starting out late, thank you. We really needed that. So I really would like to conclude one last thing in terms of like vaccines. All right. So this thing mutates, and a vaccine for a thing that mutates on paper, it just doesn't even work. Although some of the vaccine, I really do believe is it's performative. I mean, just like to spend 5 minutes on social media, and you're going to see people, not just celebrities, but just complete randos in any state, in any city, in any. You see, even like here we go, that way, there we go. No, that way, that way, that way, no, wait, that way. There we go. You see, like that cow has an Instagram with 10,000 followers. All right, and what are you doing with your free time? All right, that's the world we live in. Sometimes this universe is kind of hilarious. Anyways, in terms of the vaccine, I do believe that there will eventually come a point where either biometrics or a vaccine passport is eventually going to come into play, and it will undermine civil liberties. Now, granted, we here in the United States can go like, haha, we have rights. But sometimes human rights are like a shortcut to human wrongs. Just look at America. So the point is, it's either going to be vaccine passports, and who knows, maybe there will just be people who could never leave their like native state or city or wherever it is they move to, and they have chosen not to take a vaccine in the time and day and age of vaccine passports. All right. Or two, there's biometrics involved, and where they could just, I suppose, tell if you have it, and not only document, DNA, because it's going to start with the thumb, then it's going to move on to the eye, then it's going to go to the face. Just you wait. Before you die, you're going to see that. Not just, I don't want to say from sea to shining sea, but you're going to be seeing it a lot. And then there's going to be like a disparity, between parts of the world that have it and parts of the world that don't. Because according to William Gibson, the future's already here. It's just unevenly distributed. Ah, John Woo, quemando $3. Gracias. Gracias por quemándolo. You see, even in the parallel society known as the Hood, John Woo is keeping it not only 101% real, because honestly, most people take the easy way out, and they're all like, I'm just keeping it 100. No, all right. And don't let that Simpsons scene where like they join the softball team and then, giving 110%, and that's impossible. And then, yeah, right. No, listen, John Woo gives 101%. All right. It's one of the things on his character sheet on the FPS MMORPG known as Life. All right. It's on there. He can give 101%. So I won't give you an ear beating and then go and how the Hood is a parallel society that sort of like platonically coexists, even though it is like, it has its own customs and lingo and its own attire. And on top of that, no two hoods are alike, even though there is a reoccurring theme of characteristics within hoods. You see? Yes. Oh, well, because John Woo burned $3.
Oh, another $3?
Yes.
John Woo just burning money.
Rather than go to a strip club and make it rain and have nothing to show for it, John Woo, one by one, is taking like single dollar bills with a Bic lighter, and he's doing it within a rune of New Orleans voodoo, all right?
Come on, camera.
Somewhere in his backyard. So, ladies and jerks, so we're more or less done with vaccines.
I think so, yeah.
And so we have to say something nice about China. You see, he's threatening you with a good day.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
Okay.
You see?
Okay. All right, I'll take it. I'll take being threatened and having a good day.
Really? One of these days, John Woo, you have to like have a gun to the camera, like text your mom you love her right now, like.
Threatening me to have a good day. Don't you ruin my bad day. I like having bad days.
So John Woo goes, I've gotten maximum faith on my FPS and mortgage.
Well, at least the tip. At least this time the tip showed up here.
Well, you know what? Like, we're wondering if the message doesn't also get cut down or if it transfers. We don't know if you've been sending us anything. We're sorry.
Well, it shows up here. That's the only thing.
Okay.
And I don't know why it's not showing up here. I will work on that. But we're testing it. This is new.
I'm just glad the thing works.
Yeah, I agree. I'm surprised that we got anything, but I appreciate it regardless. I'm not gonna say no. Stuff like that is how we can keep doing this.
So, ladies and jerks, you're watching here live at twitch.tv/Monoxus. All right.
So
if you haven't, ABH chimes in with, Monoxus needs to write a John Woo on his body or do some squats like a good Twitch lady of the night. There's like some decrepit Japanese businessman, and he's like, I want to see him do crunches, but like in subtitles, because he's like screaming in Japanese, holding fistfuls of yen. He wants to see Monoxus do crunches with John Woo on his stomach.
Well, we'll see about that. Well, you know what? How about this? When we get to partner, which I believe requires us to have 75 consistent viewers. That's the main thing. So share the stream, get people in here. Once we get partner, I will do a stream from one of those little inflatable pools, and I'll fill it with like cheap vodka. So me and Trunks in a cheap vodka filled pool.
All right. No. And you know what? He's probably gonna end up choosing something better than like Stolnich. What is that? Is that the bottom shelf Russian vodka?
It's gotta be real bottom shelf. 'Cause I gotta fill a whole pool with it.
It's gonna be Devil Springs.
Maybe.
So you heard it here first.
I'm gonna have to wrap my like junk up in plastic so I'm not like burning myself with like vodka on my crotch.
He's gonna be and
We're
like
far from there, right?
You know what? You know what the sad part is? The tub is gonna fucking fail, and then we're gonna end up just setting up a slip and slide like somewhere like on the block in the middle of like a humid, sweltering like summer afternoon.
I can make it work in here. It'll be weird, but there'll be one right in the middle. Just hang out there. I'm just saying,
You monster.
Partner. We're far from it, but if we ever get there, I'll make sure that the partner appreciation stream will be me in a pool and like vodka.
Well,
I don't know if Twitch is okay with shirtless dudes though. I might have to wear a shirt.
But what you don't want Monoxus to be on the front line of knowing that can get you banned or not. You don't need that. You don't need that kind of heat.
I'll wear a white shirt so it goes see-through when it goes in the vodka.
So now Monoxus is going to be wearing an extra tight undershirt, so he's like not only swole, but he's like super cocky swole.
Yeah, but Tyler 1 can afford to be like going against Twitch's rules and stuff.
But I imagine swim trunks and an undersized white undershirt.
Yeah. A pool of vodka. I'll be drinking my own vodka.
You know what you should do? You should
maybe not vodka. I won't enjoy it as much. Maybe gin.
You should be in like a lifeguard chair, but the lifeguard chair is in the pool. With the sunglasses. Just scooping up drinking from the pool.
Yeah.
Blowing the whistle and telling people to stay out the deep end and chat.
Well, like I said, down the line, that's partner stream.
So you too can have a lady of the night moment where you could like donate 100,000 bits, and now he has to do squats.
I mean, I can set up bit donations and give like. I already said there's gonna be an overhaul once I get the new package.
Never forget when he had to do 20 push-ups every time he died playing Resident Evil, and at the end he did them. All right. Never forget.
I think we should do that with RE8 because we're playing RE8 Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think. I mean, I'm not sure if you're going to be here all 3 days, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday, RE8 all weekend.
It's going to be video games.
I'll commit to like 5 push-ups every death.
Oh, are you already expecting dying 100 times?
Well, it's a new game. I don't know anything about it, so I don't think I'm going to be able to avoid death.
I'm just going to not try my best and do the push-ups.
I'm not going to say I can do 20 every death, and then I die 3 times in the first hour, and I'm like, and now I'm not doing push-ups all stream because I did 60. I'm tired.
I'm just going to hit a stride and pretend I don't need to do the extra push-ups.
I'd rather be able to do push-ups the entire time we're streaming, as opposed to doing push-ups for an hour and going, I quit. Because I died too much. So 5 seems fair.
All right. Okay.
And while we're there, how about this? I'll put 5 push-ups per death, 10 push-ups for a follow.
Okay. Deal.
All right? All weekend. RE8. That'll be the plan. And I hope to God no one shows up and follows. Because then I'm going to kill myself.
And you know what the sad part is? You're going to be trying to fight like gigantic goth mommy, and then you know, brum, brum, brum. And then like you have to wrap things up so you could bang out those push-ups.
I mean, we could technically alternate because John Woo's like, Haynes has to do something too.
But what if? Oh, so what happens if he dies? How do I suffer because of his ill will?
We could pass the controller off, and the rule applies either way. If you die while playing, you do the push-ups. If there's a follow while you're playing, you do the push-ups, and we alternate. And like I don't know, every hour we switch hands.
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work so that we have this whole thing going.
John Woo is trying to bury me into the foundation of Resident Evil 8. All right. I see what you're trying to do, Chief.
Although I'm not sure I'm going to be able to beat it in 3 days. Depends on how early we start. But I'm sure it's a long game.
Well, it depends. Are you going to be approaching this game looking to unearth and look under every stone and press in front of every single...
I'm going to take my time playing it. It's it's a first playthrough.
Not like the Great Wall of China. All right.
You know, first playthrough, new game. I'm not going to rush through it. That would be a waste of time. I want to enjoy the game. But I do think, you know, having the title say like 5 push-ups on death, 10 push-ups for a follow, set up a push-up cam with this camera, so while this one's watching us play, you know?
Right.
I mean, technically we can do it every death. So, like, if I die, you take the controller, I go do push-ups, and then you play, and then when you die, I take the controller, and you go do push-ups.
Maybe.
That's how I'll alternate. But that's the thing for 2 days from now when we start Friday.
This guy who's already looking for a way to weasel his way out of doing push-ups for the fun. Listen, there are countless people. Listen, if people are already burning money, then there are going to be people who will follow and then unfollow and then follow again. And he's going to say, I remember your name. You don't get extra push-ups.
No refollows. You just have to, like, first-time follows. That's the whole point. You're new, you followed, thank you. Now I'll go do some push-ups.
I think, well, here's the deal. You would have to announce publicly, perhaps on Twitter, like, no, and then I don't know, like, there might be some people who say 10 push-ups isn't enough. What if someone joins and says, I'll follow for 15? But then what if they dupe you and you do 15, and then they don't follow, and then they just leave?
You are not holding me ransom. This is how this works. I'm setting the rules here. Because, again, the whole point of keeping the numbers lower is so that I can do push-ups throughout multiple days of streaming. I could do like 50 push-ups on a death, and then I do push-ups once the entire stream because I do 50 in one shot, and I'm like, and now I'm tired. I don't want to do push-ups anymore. What's the point of doing a ton of push-ups and then being like, and now I'm not doing it?
You're not wrong.
It takes the fun out of it because I'm just going to quit. I'm not going to hurt myself for that. Like, no. You keep it smaller so that it can be consistent and entertaining the whole time.
All right. Fair enough, though. Like for Resident Evil 1, if you had only done 15 push-ups, it would have been kind of like, that wouldn't have.
And then if someone's like,
come on,
5's not enough. All right, how about this douchebag? Every time I got to do them, you got to do them. And we'll see how long you fucking last. And then I'll start throwing myself at enemies and being like, no, go ahead. You got to do 5 with me. We'll see who cracks first.
And how would you even prove and document such a thing? That's on you.
I'm not doing it unless you do, asshole. Let's go.
And you know what?
Put yourself on live stream.
I hope you have as much fun avoiding the push-ups as Monoxus has doing the push-ups, you jerk.
Shut the fuck up, dog!
And the dog sounds like it's slowly being manhandled by men who have like hooks for hands.
I don't understand why they just can't shut it up.
Darelion chimes in with looking up the Russian push-up challenge. You know, the Russian military, I've always wondered what it is that separates their military from other militaries.
All right, Darelion, I'll look it up.
Like their basic training, like listen, basic training sucks, but I wonder what it is about Russian basic training. Like I remember seeing footage, like the 2000s, where they had these things where like you have to hold the chair out in front of you, and then if you drop the chair for your hands lower, they kick you in the chest, and they did things like that. And I mean, like yeah, I get it, like you know, obstacle courses, push-ups, and runnings, and yeah, but like that's a different kind of strength. You know, I've always wondered.
I mean, the first thing I find is when I search it.
Finance dog.
Literally search.
That dog is king of junk bonds and penny stocks.
Russian push-up challenge. The very first link is something called "Evil Russian Push-Up Challenge to Build Chest and Muscle." Is that what we're talking about?
Let us know, dear.
Is it called the Evil Russian Program? Because that's what it looks like.
Are you trying to radicalize Monoxus there?
I'm just trying to see if it's actually like a good program. Because a lot of times it's just like meme bullshit.
Oh, look at him. My name's Monoxus, and I'm too good for the bench press.
I love bench press. What are you talking about? I have a chest day. I actually hate push-ups. I think they're boring.
Indeed, this fucking cocky jerk. All right, so
I'm showing the program now. So see how many you can do, and then multiply that by 30%. So if you do 20 by 30%, 6 push-ups per hour.
right.
If you can do 40, it's 12 push-ups per hour on day 1. So you're doing sets every hour throughout the day? And then you do 50% every hour, and then 60% every 45 minutes, 25% every 60 minutes. So you never go full power for in the week. Except, I guess, maybe week 2?
Is this supposed to be survival mode endurance marathon push-up sessions? I'm a little bit confused, but then again, I'm not Russian, so...
I think the idea is that you're just basically every hour you're doing push-ups.
Okay.
Which doesn't seem that bad.
Well, why not do them for followers?
I'm just saying, like, that program... Yeah, the percent goes up, but like...
okay.
I mean, doing push-ups every hour is a lot easier than doing sets of push-ups with, like, 1 minute rest in between them. Because there's a huge difference between, like, oh, you can do 50 push-ups, 40 push-ups, whatever your number is.
Right.
Let's say you're like, I can do 20 without stopping, and then at 20 I can gas out. All right, do 20 every hour. You're going to do 20, have an hour rest, and do 20? It's not fucking hard.
You're not wrong.
You know? Versus, like, do 20, wait 1 minute, 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 do 20. Okay, you're done. You know, regular programming still seems like a better program than every hour you push up.
And then, but how would you even do such a thing if, let's say, like, you have to go to work, and let's say you're working at, like, a grocery store. What? Like, you're in the middle of, like, stocking fruit, and then, time to do 50 push-ups, like...
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Because, like, even, like what Johnny's saying is, like, by the second week, you're doing every 45-minute push-ups. So, I can see how it can, like, be taxing, but a 45-minute rest...
Well...
It's a lot in pure volume, but the amount of rest you're getting means you're basically fully recovered by the time you do the next set. Because it takes, like, what, 5 to 10 minutes? Like, 5 minutes on average to recover, like, ATP stores in your muscle and to, like, be ready to go for another full round of high-volume training. 45 minutes? Yeah, all right. You might as well get a snack while you're fucking waiting. Have fun. Drink some water.
Go have a celery stick.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure it'll kick your ass if you're new to stuff. And I'm sure as a, like, just in general, challenge is fucking fun. One of my favorite, what's his name? David Goggins, I think, came up with it. What was it? 4x4 for 48. It's a 4-mile run every 4 hours for 48 hours.
That's insane.
Yes.
But no, because you don't even get to sleep properly.
You get to sleep in between runs.
But you're not getting... No, you're not... You're just living like an animal.
But that's a fucking challenge right there.
Why would you... Whoa, I did the thing. The what now? Do you get an achievement unlocked?
Well, we're talking about just, you know, the challenge of this. Again, I do think it would definitely kick your ass. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, it's a lot of rest in between things. Granted, you're doing it for 2 weeks straight. Yeah, it's gonna build up. You're not gonna do anything else while you're doing that routine.
A of the H chimes in with eventually you will get army sponsorship and have jet fighter footage in the background. Well, I mean, Listen, if the DARPA Black Bag Operation Public Relations people want to get in touch with us, like, come on, you know where to find us.
I'm following Army sponsorship.
Would you? So, hi, I'm Anoxis. You want to party disco and impregnate women overseas and then, like, have their babies held against you for ransom and then walk away from the armed forces without a fucking pension and then become a crippled alcoholic who dies in an alleyway? Join the army.
Or join the army and have an army career.
That too. Where partially exploded veterans get a mattress sale every year.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I like that. It's an interesting idea. I would never, if someone was like, "What do you think of a push-up challenge where all you do is push-ups for 2 weeks?" I'd be like, "All right, have fun overdeveloping your chest and nothing else. Do a regular routine. Like for a challenge, interesting. 2 weeks of that shit. So what? For 2 weeks, I have to not do other like exercises because I got to be like, well, I got to save my energy for the 2 weeks of push-ups I'm doing.
Right.
Fuck that.
And then you skip
Every other day.
You skip leg day. He ends up skipping arm day. He ends up skipping doing a lot of any cardio that you're doing, really.
I mean, you could probably, because like if you're gonna do like 30 minutes of cardio, you start your day, you do your first set of push-ups, right? Like I'm assuming you wake up and do them in the first hour, unless you wait the first hour after waking up and that's your first hour. But go do 30 minutes of cardio. And then do your first set of push-ups.
I like the trope, although I imagine it's more than a trope, that there are people who do this where, like, the second they wake up, push-ups, you know?
Oh, sure.
I'm sure there are people.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I wake up and try to go for runs. It doesn't work every time. Because sometimes I'm just fucking not in the mood to get up and run out the gate. But yeah, wake up, run. Why not? If you're doing a routine, you might as well get out of the way early.
this is true. You see, ladies and jerks, you too can be assertive and understand that if not you, who, and if not now, when. Here at twitch.tv/Monoxis, actualize yourself and assert yourself, all right? Be the best you that you can be, all right? If Monoxis can do it, anyone can do it.
Shit, don't use me as an example. There are people in much worse shape than me that can do that shit. I'm in decent shape, so don't, whatever. I've been doing it for a while, so yeah, of course I can do it. There are...
Look at this humble brag over here. We live in a society.
Just, I want to see Haynes do jazzercise.
Complete with spandex and with a group of other luchadors. And although who would be leading such an insane thing? It would have to be like 80s, like neon leggings too.
You're leading it.
Oh,
you're the head, and chat has to do jazzercise with you.
All right.
That's if anything,
I hope you've stretched and bought comfortable shoes.
You make them do the jazzercise while you lead the class.
And like it's gonna be like Cyndi Lauper, girls just want to have fun while we do jazzercises.
Yeah, why not?
And we're gonna, you don't get to sit and fucking like catch your breath. We got to do jumping jacks between these jazzercise routines.
Yeah, keep them busy, keep the heart rate up. No stopping. Man. You just go.
There are no brakes on the jazzercise train.
You're always moving. You keep that heart rate going.
Man,
if you gotta take a break, you take a break. But just remember,
and it would be like songs like "Push It to the Limit." That's on the that song from the Scarface soundtrack.
Oh yeah, we can make a whole playlist for it.
It's gonna be delightful. A of the H is gonna
take it easy, Dareline.
Have a good night. Buenas noches y gracias por tu consideración.
I mean, to be fair, we're probably not gonna go super long anyway. So
A of the H is gonna ambush me in a dark alleyway and hold a kukri up to my neck and be like, give me 20%, and like I've got no way to go out of it unless I die. So like in this jazzercise empire that I end up building, like I'm just one phone call away from where I gotta give this like envelope that you could kill a turtle with because it's so big, because the jazzercise empire is netting. Then there's like merchandise, and then there's like a scandal that only works to get me more publicity. Then
yeah, that's a good way to do it.
And then there's like the Stained Haynes Jazzercise anthology series, where it's a 20 VHS collection set of all the episodes.
A VHS collection, like we're not even going for like Blu-rays.
Right.
We're gonna go and make.
It's
VHSs.
A collector's item.
Yeah, and it's something you can't watch. Who the fuck has a VHS player anymore?
Plenty of people. You'd be surprised.
Collectors, maybe.
I've seen people who have modern DJ sampling things that have a little thing you could use for cassettes.
Okay, but like that's someone who's going out of the way to use retro tech to make music.
Well, I'm
saying casually owning a VCR.
There are some things only available in that medium.
Like what?
Like Greek folk music,
Oh,
classical
okay. Well,
music,
so like an older generation.
like music from countries that like there was no
Sure,
wide
sure.
distribution. So
I don't think any old folks are going to be watching the Stained Haynes Jazzercise Power Hour on VHS.
no, it's the same way vinyl is like a big sell,
Yeah.
and because people want to have physical copies of merchandise,
You think
like
VHS is going
they,
to go
they,
that way?
they want. Listen, you want to know why? Because now you're no longer able to watch something like Gone with the Wind on Netflix or whatever because like it's the Confederacy.
Because it's racist.
So because it's racist, and now you can no longer get DVDs of it. Now the only remaining copies outside of DVDs are on VHS.
Yeah, I guess it's
For example, earlier copies of Star Wars: A New Hope, Episode 4, where like Han shot first, old, early, crusty VHS copies, and then it got the DVDs, and then like Greedo's all like pew pew pew, and you see this awkwardly animated Han Solo head moving this way, like, oh, like, are you about to shift into another dimension? No, now you're shooting Greedo. That's not what happened.
Wait, is that actually in it?
It just looks unnatural. Like,
I don't think I've ever seen the newer
Greedo,
edit versions.
listen, the whole Han shot first, Greedo shot first argument happened because there were people who never saw the original and then saw the edited version. And like after the original release, like it got re-released, and there was just extra shit crammed into it that was unnecessary.
I'm keeping this
Just
push up.
cramming. And then like you're tasting meatloaf in your mind because you can and you will.
Push up thing open.
So no, look it up. Like
I'm going to. I've never seen that there's actually like a...
there is a Greedo shot first version. Yes, that exists. Why? Because reasons. And we have to hold George Lucas accountable for these things. We do.
Wow, you're not wrong. I mean, I've heard of it.
How
I just didn't.
embarrassing
I
is
didn't know
that?
that it was edited.
Mm-hmm. So in the newer edited versions of this, they just had extra crap crammed into it.
Yeah. Kind of Vivtex. I'm
Vivtex, gracias por tu presencia aquí hoy noche.
I've been tweeting at things every once in a while. I'm still not super active on Twitter in general, but I try and check the trending tab every once in a while and jump in and bother people.
Well, you know, Monoxis is just parachuting in, like the 101st Airborne behind enemy lines.
Like today, there was
Pointing
nothing...
out the obvious stealthily between doing sets for Arm Day.
Well, like there was nothing fun to post about today because all the shit that was trending was like Cinco de Mayo stuff.
Mhm.
And I was like, what, am I going to yell like obscenities about racist nonsense? Like that's the best I can come up with, and they're going to look at me and be like, oh, white guy yelling about Cinco de Mayo, racism.
And then Monoxis gets cancelled on Cinco de Mayo.
Belle Delphine did not get back to me about the dildo, sadly. Although I'm willing to bet that she's going to take the idea and run with it, and then I'm not going to get credit. But when that does happen, I will be adding her again. Because it's going to happen.
And then she's going to see Monoxis has followed you. And then she's going to...
I ain't following that bitch.
And then she's going to follow back. And then what happens if she DMs you?
That depends. What she DM'd me about, the dildo thing?
Maybe.
Because if it's about, like, hooking up, I'm interested. But that's about as far as I'm interested. What?
Because the last time you said you'd do this just so you could reject her.
Yeah, but I'll hook up with her, though.
You monster. This man has no scruples! None!
I still think the dildo thing's a good idea.
Listen, like, and you know what? Like, when this is all said and done...
Play hard to get with a thought? Are you out of your mind?
When this is all said and done...
There's no hard to get. It's a thought.
When this is all said and done, Monoxis is going to come back, all right? And then cameraman is going to be like, well, how was it? And like he goes, oh, well, it was just the most expensive omelet I've ever had in my life because she made him breakfast the morning after and cut him a check for the dildo. And you know what? Like, sometimes the universe rocks that way,
I'm
all
just
right?
saying, like, if the dildo thing happens, I'm going to be upset. Although, I'll be happy for her that she finally realized
This
she could
is
do
why
it.
you need a lawyer for intellectual property.
No, it's fine. I mean, she was going to do it one way or another down the line. Eventually, she was going to start selling used sex toys.
Okay, this guy with his, statistically speaking, X, Y, and Z approach is kind of weird because that's him going like, yeah, well, I mean, I'm just going to bet that in like 2033 there's going to be like a third Syrian civil war. And like, and he probably would bet on that.
Well, here's the thing, though. Someone who sells their body for money, which is effectively what she does.
No, you're not selling your body, you're just renting it out for increments of time.
Fair. Fine. You want to play it that way. You're still using your body to make money. Inevitably needs alternative revenue because that doesn't last forever,
Right.
nor does your body. and selling objects to people who worship you like you're some kind of god, even though you're like 6 out of 10, 7 with the wig, 8 with the personality,
Right.
fake personality. You could just be like, here's a shirt I wore. No, you didn't. Here are panties I wore. No, you didn't. Here's my bathwater. No, it isn't. You know what I mean? Like, once the bathwater thing worked, I was like, anything's on the table.
Well, you see,
Because I could take, look, it's my pee. You want to buy it? Like, it's not, but like I said it's my pee, therefore it is.
imagine, imagine there are all of these like sex-starved cougars and young listless women that don't want anything to do with the men around them, and then they're just looking at Monoxis, and he's like, "Hey, do you want my Monoxis bathwater? I did push-ups in them."
I mean, if anything, like let's
And
say...
then like hot wine MILF breath is gonna hit his neck, and he's just gonna be like, "Lady."
No. Here's the thing. If I ever reached a point where I felt I could genuinely sell bathwater, or any product of that matter, like let's say I was like, I'm doing the bathwater thing, right? Why would I, as someone who has some integrity left, not take a bath and then film myself filling up the bath, like the jars of bathwater, and I can have like a label, sign it, number it, so it's like, this is happening.
You have to do the push-ups in the water, though.
In real time, just so when it gets to you, you can be like, in the video, he made 100 jars, and it's like, oh, that's the one from the signature and the number, and you can trace it, and it's like, sure, could I turn the camera off and empty it? But like, whatever.
This is number 14. No, but what if you seal it?
Yeah, I can seal it. It's the same way like you want to buy my underwear?
Someone got
used
number,
or not used.
Someone got number 14 of Monoxis's push-up water.
But like, so I don't know if she went to that extent, because I didn't investigate her sales. I don't care about what she does. If she did, then fucking kudos. If you actually took a bath and then bottled the bath water.
Well, did she even do you even have like a read receipt when you reached out to her over the dildo? Like,
No.
You're still undelivered. It's not unread.
I didn't look.
Oh,
I don't care.
You know what's sad? 3 minutes after he DM'd her that, I
don't think she handles her own Twitter.
It went from blank to blue check mark to let it know someone read it, and he just never looked back. And there's a 20-page essay of Belle Daphne going hey, so I had private detectives look into you, and I like what I see. And then 2 weeks later, you fucking disgusting asshole, why didn't you answer back? I'm gonna fucking kill you and eat your babies.
Everyone in chat at Belle Delphine and tell her to pay attention.
Yeah, to me. Everyone tell Belle Daphne that she doesn't know what it's like to sleep with the winner until she meets Monoxis.
Tell her she has to look into my idea. Not that thing. Tell her to look into my idea.
Tell her she has to look him directly in the eyes.
I don't look back at my tweets. I just tweet and then walk away. It's like when I tweeted at Caitlyn Jenner. I had a good idea. I tweeted it and I looked away.
You treat it as if it's a bank robbery, in and out, no women and children.
I just don't care. I don't know you. You don't know me. You probably don't especially since I'm going at bigger names. They don't fucking run their own Twitters. They have someone who's on Twitter 24 hours a day monitoring it for them.
You're just some guy who got 2 likes on their reply in an ocean of 100,000 people who replied to this.
And I could someone could at someone like her, Belle in this case, and be like, I love you, and that will get a 10,000 retweets, 20,000 likes, and me, a good idea, will get a like. But I love you, and then all the fucking simps are like, I love you too.
I remember.
You want me to drown? You want to pay attention as people drown themselves in stupid? No.
There's a variation of the the yes meme.
Maybe.
Where it's just the blonde guy and it goes yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. It's that, but it's flip the other way, and behind him is this anime looking woman, and she's in distress, and she's like, babe, please stop sharing your deepest and darkest thoughts with people on the internet. And he's 2 likes. Oh man, this is a banger.
I've seen that. Yeah. It's pretty good.
Listen.
But yeah, I don't expect any of my Twitter stuff to ever really gain traction with the people I at.
This is an excellent segue because we finally get to
Twitter bullshit.
Listen, one thing, because we had put Twitter as a tag.
You know what people notice? When you post on days again, Cinco de Mayo would have been perfect. If I would have been going ham on May the 4th stuff, I probably would have gotten attention. Saturday, just put Catterday in your posts. And it'll end up on the trending tab. Not because Catterday's almost always trending. You can post anything and then just put the word Catterday in it, and then when someone goes through the posts, you're probably in there because you put Catterday. You can piggyback on things.
I mean, well, that's stealthily piggybacking on things.
Well, yeah, and then sometimes someone's like I think what was it? It was on 420. I think I posted a picture of that. I think I posted a picture of like a kitten because my boy's got a kitten, and I was because it was a Saturday, and I was like, oh yeah, it's Catterday, time to celebrate Hitler's birthday with some cats, and I posted the cat, and I got likes from people I don't know, and I was like, do y'all realize what you just liked? They saw a cat, they saw a Catterday, like. But I was like, let's celebrate Hitler's birthday.
I'd like to believe, like, maybe like a third of them just don't even speak or read English, and
Possibly.
they're just like Catterday, like.
But you see Catterday, and then like don't read the context of it's just a cute kitty.
I don't know if you've ever gotten this, but like, have you ever replied or quote tweeted something, and it was like, would you like to read the article first? And you're like, no. Like, why are you asking me?
Oh, no,
have you ever gotten that?
I don't think I've ever. No. I think I also usually check the post I'm quote tweeting.
Anyone in chat, if you've gotten that on Twitter, where like let's say there's like an article and you either reply or quote tweet it, and they're like, "Do you want to do that before reading the article?" And you're like, oh, "Yeah, I do. I don't want to read the thing. It is dumb. Like you're verified nonsense. You're garbage. You're trash." Like I don't.
I actually, if I'm gonna quote tweet some nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
I do read it first, no matter how stupid it is.
Right.
I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna take it for face value. I'm gonna try and digest it, unless it's a really long article, in which case I might just be like, fake and gay and move on.
These things happen.
Like when women go about posting about, booba related things, and it's just like men, sex and sex work, and I'm just like booba, and just move on. Because at this point, like if I try to have a real opinion, you're a male. Booba. Bye.
It's one of the few things that gets them through the day. All right.
It's just easier.
All right.
Because having a well-articulated opinion on Twitter is...
But this is poppycock because binary worldviews get clicks.
It's
all right.
the same thing as shouting into the void.
Well,
taking time to write something well thought out is going to get you probably nowhere.
But a very small handful of people have been doing it like for some time.
Sure. If you can get enough people behind you, I'm sure it works. But I also imagine that it's much easier to just shitpost. And I feel like shitposts are the turnaround rate for shitposts is easier. It doesn't get you canceled
unless you're someone who's incredibly articulate and sharp and
you do both.
Yes, like my favorite example. Sour scroat. Buenas noches. Gracias por tu presencia aquí hoy noche. Zero HP Lovecraft is like just one of the few consistent accounts on Twitter, and he's not a gimmick account. That's what I want to talk about, gimmick accounts.
Yes,
but
we talk about Twitter in general.
Zero HP Lovecraft is a horrorist and one of the most articulate, unusually prescient writers on the internet.
Sure.
So, he doesn't shitpost at all, ever, and sometimes he'll just like for example, he was like, "Oh, bipolar disorder is a feminine trait," and then he gets like 300 likes and 100 retweets, even though that's out of his like wheelhouse.
Yeah. Okay. I've read some of his stuff. Depends on. I mean, like I said, I don't use Twitter that often. I'm not a fan.
BPD, more like best pussy disorder. Badoom. Psh. No, don't stick your dick in crazy. Really, it's not worth it. Don't do that.
It's fine as long as you either commit to it or run away.
No, don't.
But you have to go in knowing. You can't make a split decision. You're either like sticking it out because like you want the crazy, or you're like in and out.
You see, ladies and jerks, like a bank robbery. So listen.
Just saying, you can just get the fuck out of there and don't use your real name.
Oh yeah, he's just like John Johnson from Wisconsin.
I'm just saying, it's totally doable.
So
you just gotta be smart about it.
So what I wanted to discuss is so there is a Twitter account that I believe the cloth of which all other because there are aesthetics accounts, like old Soviet photos. Like there's one gimmick account where it's like does this violate the Geneva Convention, and it spent years just taking random video games from yes, this violates the Geneva because X, and they would always, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Or like there used to be Nature is Metal, and it's just like horrific, violent, bloody things, but it's nature, so it's cool.
I remember Nature is Metal.
All right.
I've seen posts from them.
Okay, so Then comes posting their L's. And of course, with the birth of posting their L's comes posting their W's.
Yes.
All right.
Posting your L's is pretty solid. I think everyone at this point has seen a posting your L's post.
And mind you, and then just real quickly, like in terms of like gimmick accounts, then there's like Mexico out of context, the UK out of context, you know.
Yeah.
There are some pretty silly. Sometimes it's just like, you know, a TV show, but like screen caps out of context.
I mean, I have to like one of the things that confuses me, and I think it's only because I don't really understand the whole why people use Twitter in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a gimmick account, like posting your L's account, right? And you got to keep that pretty consistent. You don't gain anything from being on Twitter, though,
right?
Other than a following, right? So if you're not using that following to your benefit,
you do know that you can sell such an account.
Of course, but I mean, all right, now you're just going to abandon your work.
But there are marketing firms that are willing to pay money for such a thing.
Okay, I guess so. Maybe that's it. Because I don't understand why someone would run a gimmick account unless they're really committed to their gimmick.
Well,
all right, like it's like that is what they have in life. They wake up, they shit post on their gimmick account, they go to work. They put their fucking 8 to 10 hours in miserably. They go home and they start shit posting on the account again, and it's what keeps them going.
Although, I mean, herein lies the issue. Something like women posting their L's online, which is the progenesis of all accounts posting their L's online, all of them. All right. It is submission based.
Okay.
He takes submissions because this started out as like they're everywhere. And he was just taking screenshots. And then he started getting DMs, and he's like, this is wild. And then all bets were off.
And then it grew from there, yeah. Makes sense.
Oh, boy. Like, some of them are, like, someone, like a woman quote tweeted another woman, and she was like, how did you find out he wasn't just that interested in you? And he was like, and she was like, I didn't realize he was spitting on my back instead of finishing.
Ooh. Oh.
So women posting their L's, like
what a horrible situation to be
dude in. It just from the depths of the internet, and just imagine. And here's the crazy thing: imagine all of the unopened DMs, like sitting for that account.
I can only imagine how much doesn't go used.
You would have to scroll down for a few seconds before you get to people you normally interact with on this account.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it's funny how women posting their L's online ends up becoming the framework for a blank posting their L's online, and then from this comes, for example, like men posting their W's online, dudes posting, or like Doodly wins or whatever. But now this is interesting to note. Women posting their W's online. I remember seeing that account gain like 150 followers in one day, which is like, no, you're botting. This isn't like normal. 150,000 followers. Excuse me.
Okay.
150,000 followers.
I don't know. I mean. Like, you just keep in mind. Hold on.
And it's just like the most asinine, like, hey, I'm a woman, I did the thing, and then yes, queen, and then bot response, and then the lowest common denominator, self-indulgent tripe.
But imagine how many people look at women posting their L's and go, yeah.
Happens all the time.
And then someone goes, I'm going to make an account where it's women posting their W's. And literally every person who goes, when posting their L's, sees the counter response and is like, well, I have to fucking, like, I got to follow this.
Yeah, I guess that, well, okay.
So for every, like, I mean, you have to look at the numbers of something like that. And not just that one. Anyone who looks at that kind of account and then looks at the accounts that spawn from it and the people who follow it and the mean response and blah, 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 blocked those people, they're going to see like posting their wins and they're going to flood to it. And then you're going to have people who flooded to it who then went, if you're an ally of blank, come to this. And that's anything. I can pick a group. It doesn't matter. You don't even have to say it out loud.
Venezuelans.
Venezuelan posting their W's online. And then I start posting Venezuelan wins, and Venezuelan people are like, yo, you fucking support Venezuela, let's go. And like,
God.
You know what I mean? So
Venezuelans posting their L's online.
Because let's not go into like, weird out groups and make people mad. But you get what I'm saying. So
then why not like Papua New Guineans posting their L's online?
I'm just saying for the whole like how it got that much in like a day, because there's a whole bunch of men posting their L's, and it's like we need one for wins. And I guarantee you that community was building behind the scenes already, and then they just put it into action. but this is much like how like the left can't meme thing. When you create like a I want to say like a circle of humor or a style of humor, like a meme.
Mhm.
You create something and it has purpose and it props itself up and people spread it because it is what it is and it gets the message across. And then someone goes, I don't like that you're being mean to women who had bad time, bad day, which again, kind of the joke is like, why did you post this?
Mhm.
That's why it's funny because like they're posting them. They posted this. I'm just reposting it,
Right.
but they don't get that. They're just like stop. But to counteract it, they go, well, I'm going to do the opposite. It's like right, but this is funny because of the negativity and like the why would you post that?
Because sometimes like the replies end up reading like a fucking like Friars Club roast.
Yeah, where like a positive one of posting your wins, unless you're one of those like toxic positivity people where everything has to be like a you win situation, you know? It's kind of like your dad dies and they're like, don't worry, buddy, everything's gonna be just fine. And you're like, I'll fucking kill you, someone just died. Like those people, unless you're one of them, you don't care about win accounts.
Why not like people who eat Entenmann donuts posting their L's online? All right, I'll stop. I'll stop.
Alcoholics posting their wins online, and it's just even the bad stuff is a win. It's just good and bad.
Alcoholics posting their W's online.
It is. Passed out in the street. He had a good night.
Yeah, that feel when you had a great Friday night, like. But he's like in a fire, like he's in a field.
A guy in the fucking back of an ambulance giving a thumbs up.
Ay, Dios mío.
That could be a thing.
We don't condone such a thing here at twitch.tv/Monoxis.
Meth user W's. I mean,
tweakers posting their W's online.
It could be a thing, and you know what? That's a community where all submissions can be thrown out, and not thrown out, can be put in. But you can give anything on that because, like, that's the joke. If you're fucking drunk off your face, everything's a win. And if you can't see it through that lens, and then somebody would be mad at that and be like, alcoholism's not funny.
But then...
Except it is.
But...
What? It's funny sometimes. Just because something has negatives doesn't mean it's not funny.
How funny is Ireland to you, huh?
I mean, like, Ireland the country?
Yes.
Like, just as it is?
Oh, and their culture, its people, the Irish accent.
On a scale of, like, 1 to 10?
Yes.
I get, like, 4 and 5s out of them.
Okay, deal.
I mean, Irish humor? I don't... Like, what, are you talking about, like, racist Irish jokes?
Oh, no, I mean, all of Ireland. You know, they have, there's such a thing as Irish cheddar, and they're the first people that ever recorded their own, like, native tongue on
I would argue
paper.
that all groups, whether they be racial or social...
Why do you hate the Irish?
I think everyone's funny. I think the thing nowadays is to try and take humor away from things.
But you hate the Irish.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I have family that have Irish blood because my family has a lot of mixed bloodline, different parent stuff going on. So, like, I got Irish people in my family. They're great.
Okay. But why do you hate the Irish?
Why do I hate the Irish? Not contributing enough to society.
You see that? Fine. Listen, provisional Irish Republican Army, because you haven't assimilated Monoxis, you've lost his vote, all right?
I don't know what to say.
You want to hear something crazy? In the 1980s, when the...
This isn't about Twitter, is it?
No. In the 1980s? No, I'm beefing with someone in Ireland right now. Like, hey, fuck you, buddy. Like him and his 17 friends in tracksuits. Their incomprehensible Gaelic accent.
I don't have any problem with Ireland. Actually, now that you've got me thinking about it, do I have an inherent hatred for any country? No. I do have a hatred for states, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Which state?
California.
Oh, well, I mean, give Cali to Poseidon. Don't forget
that's,
that.
But, you know, because California is one of the leading, they have homeless problems, they have pedophile problems, they have drug problems, they have wealth inequality, extremism from political groups, and not in small amounts. So if there's a state where it's like, y'all need a reality check and some, I don't know, Jesus, it's California.
If there was any... All right. to me, California always seemed like some sort of like science experiment God started and put in motion and then abandoned and then it turned on itself and now it's just this like other universe sweltering wealth disparity hellhole of like atomized culture in big cities. And it's kind of weird because like the California that was once influential in the second half of the 20th century doesn't exist anymore.
Oh no, the funny thing is because I know people who want to move over there, but every time they talk about going to California, it's like the pockets of California that don't suck. Where it's like, I'm going to go there to make music and be a model, and I'm going to go there to get into film and be a writer. And it's like, and you're going to stay in a 30-block radius where everything is still functioning and the people are nice. And when somebody shows up on drugs, it's like, no, dude, go to the beach. Just get the fuck out of here. Like, what are you doing here? Go away. You're not going to talk about like the fucking 6 straight blocks of homeless camps that you're not going to go near.
Right.
You know, you're not going to talk about how there's a pedophile cabal like every other block in a basement somewhere who are raping children, and like they're probably the ones who are buying your scripts. But who cares who's buying them as long as like your writing career.
You know. Listen, those casting couches aren't going to grease themselves with the shame and guilt of predators. All right.
And if there's anything I don't mind getting canceled on, it's calling out Californian pedophiles. To be fair,
although if memory serves me correctly, I think it might be Florida that has more sex offenders than anywhere else in the United States.
But are they pedophiles? Or just sex offenders?
I think it's sex offenders.
Because to be fair, sex offender, especially here,
Let's look this up.
is really tricky. Like, I remember there was a case, and I think it was here. I remember reading about it over here, where a couple who owned, a couple somewhere in, I think it was Long Island.
Yeah.
They owned a house property on the beach, right? And when they bought the house property, they bought a section of the beach, which was legally theirs, and they were able to fence it off to a certain extent. They had to allow people to pass on the beach, so they couldn't completely block it off. You know what I mean? But they technically owned that beach property, and if they were like, "Hey, you get the fuck out of here," like you have to get the fuck off their property. So now imagine a beach, and like from where the houses are down to the water, that land is owned by a person. Up until you get to the water line, because you can't own that part of the water.
Right.
But there's a whole section of sand.
How do you even barter such a deal with like City Hall and the zoning laws?
I assume like old money or like connections. But that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is this couple, one time, go and get frisky on the beach. I think it was like nighttime, so whatever. But they're fucking on the beach, and people who are outside of that area see it and report it. So the cops show up. And they're like, well, what do you want? Like, this is our private property. We can do whatever we want here. But because they were in, like, line of sight of other people, even though it's, like, middle of the fucking night and they're on their private property of a beach and they have fences and someone, like, saw it, they got put on the sex offender registry. A married couple on their own property became sex offenders legally and had to report to the neighborhood because somebody saw them doing that shit. So sex offender can be that.
Long Island.
I think it was Long Island. That is some absurd bullshit. There was another kid, and I don't think this was here, but I remember reading about this too. This kid basically had consensual sex with a girl who turned out to be lying about her age, had a fake ID. So I think he was 18 and she was 15, but her ID said 18, and he met her at like an 18-plus club, and when he like talked to her, she was like, I'm 18. She went to her family, met them, they were dating, whatever, and then sometime down the line, her parents found out they were hooking up, called the cops, got him arrested, he became a sex offender.
Wow.
So sex offender, like, is a really weird thing where it can range from, like, you're a straight-up, like, rapist,
right,
to, like, nah, someone just caught you in the act. I mean, granted, you shouldn't be, like, jerking it in public, but, like, jerk in public, you're a sex offender.
Because when the good old-fashioned jerking spirit in the privacy of your own home isn't as good.
Well, yeah.
So,
but in the case of, like, a couple getting caught and, like, you're now you're both, you and your wife are sex offenders, that's ridiculous.
Now, hang on. So the states with the most sex offenders, all right, from, like, you want to go in ascending or descending order?
Does it have it by the charge or just general?
No, just sex offenders.
Top down, go.
All right, top down. All right.
Mind you, this is on the record, not off the record.
All right. Oregon, Arkansas, Delaware, Michigan, Wisconsin, South Dakota, Wyoming, Kansas. Wyoming, holy shit, really? Kansas, Tennessee, and 10 is evidently a tie between Florida and Mississippi.
Interesting.
And they even have like a measurement of registered sex offenders per 100,000 people. And evidently for like Oregon, it's like a 688 sex offenders per 100,000 people.
But again, I imagine that all of those aren't like, crimes against other people.
You're not wrong.
How many of those states do you think is people just like being naked on a boat?
Or what if like
and someone saw you, you know what I mean? And now you're a sex offender.
What if like your car broke down and then like you need help, so you walk up to this house and it's just like a couple making love on their sofa, but like she's really into like, choke me and spit on me and call me names, and he's like, can I use your phone, hello, and he's ringing the doorbell and he just like looks around the house and he's like, officer, like he's choking and he's beating her.
I don't know if you
officer.
I don't know if you can get it when you're.
He's punching her in the butt.
I don't think you can get that when you're in your home, because then the person looking in would be the sex offender.
Touche.
Because you're in a peeping Tom now.
Okay.
And that is a reason to get a sex offender listed. If you watch somebody in their own home, you get it, but apparently not on the beach.
Okay. What if they were on their porch?
I don't know about that. I think because it's still outside. Outside doesn't count. But you see how many of those people were just watching somebody, and I mean it's still creepy. I'm not like saying that's a good thing.
Right.
But when I see like sex offenders, I'm like, right, but not all those people are like rapists and pedophiles and like gropey touchy trained people. Sometimes they're just like they're looking in their neighbor's window and it's like, oh shit, and the neighbor's like, oh my god, and then like the cops show up and it's like, what do you mean? I looked out the window. They were like fondling themselves. They were at the window fondling themselves. How's this my fault? But it's your fault because you saw them. Stop looking. That puts you on a sex offender list in some states. That's what I'm talking about. It's just wild.
All right. You're not wrong.
So, but
that's right, John Woo. This is mumbo jumbo times.
I mean, you can look. I mean, is there a list of like most pedophiles?
Let's find out.
Because that's where I'd like to know.
Okay.
I want to see how high up we are, because I think it's mostly major cities that have like big pedophile rings. Also, that's something I don't.
Well, by virtue of population, right?
Yes. I also think it's something that, like, on paper is not going to have a lot of information, because it's not something you want to publicly take any kind of like, oh yeah, we have that.
All right, so it's either going to be California or Florida. My money's on Florida.
Oh no, it's not Florida.
No, it just gives me back sex offenders. Doesn't give me rapists.
Yeah, because it's not going to specify.
I mean, pedophiles.
It's not going to specify.
Ooh, did you know that in 2020, September 3rd, the California Assembly passes bill allowing some pedophiles to not register as sex offenders? Isn't that nice?
I remember that. Yeah. California's got a couple of bills that protect sex offenders.
Whoa. Now, hang on.
Yeah.
June 11th, 2019. Alabama passes bill mandating chemical castration for pedophiles.
Good on you, Alabama.
That's, based.
Kind of. That's kind of based.
That's.
I hope that the Alabama, judicial system is really good with getting their evidence straight, though. Because that guy who was hooking up with a girl consensually who ended up being underage. Oops. So, I like the idea, but I don't think our government and the way we hold ourselves legally can properly take care of those things. So I'm a big fan of the idea of the death sentence, but I don't think we have the ability to properly use it because of all the people we sentenced to prison that didn't do anything. And then we'd be killing them. So I completely understand not having chemical castration and death sentence as an option, because we put the wrong people in jail all the goddamn time. We can't have that kind of thing. It's dangerous.
All right. You're not wrong. I just wanted to cover over quickly in terms of gimmick accounts on Twitter. Now, like, there's a difference between aesthetic accounts and gimmick accounts. Okay?
Yes.
However, it's funny how, like, okay, it's sort of something that falls into the background, like how Filthy Frank created the Harlem Shake.
Yes.
Or the Harlem Shuffle. What was it?
Harlem Shake.
Yeah. Okay.
He created the dance trend, not the song, I don't think.
No, but he did because it ended up becoming a meme because it propagated itself through the. All right, so fun fact.
Which is also funny because I'm pretty sure YouTube had like one of their rewind years where they had people doing the Harlem Shake, but YouTube will never acknowledge Filthy Frank.
They can't. They're not allowed to.
Yeah.
So
it's like when Joji fans tried to cancel him, and it was like, get the fuck out of here.
Cancel him for what?
For being Filthy Frank.
That makes no sense.
They wanted to cancel his current music career, even though he gave up being Filthy Frank to pursue the music career, because they were like, it's the same person. Even though Filthy Frank is very clearly a character. Like,
you know what'd be really funny? If, like, 40 years from now, there are people going, like, hey, Frank! Just, like, accosting him, and, like, in the public, giving him a hard time.
People are never going to...
Welcome to the rice fields, motherfucker!
There are going to be people who remember Filthy Frank their entire lives. I don't think he's ever...
I feel so bad for that gentleman.
Why? Why would you feel bad?
He's going to be like 80 years old, but as long as he needs the glasses and people are going to be screaming at him. That's right.
He had an amazing career on YouTube where he did great shit that no one else was doing. In fact, thanks to him, others started being edgy and he helped build other people's careers. Mm-hmm. And thanks to Filthy Frank and Pink Guy, his actual music career got a jumping point. Without Filthy Frank and Pink Guy, Joji probably wouldn't even be doing what he is doing now.
Right.
So, fuck that. That man needs to put, like, a monument on his wall of, like, Papa Frank and, like, Pink Guy, and just be like that because that's where I came from. Without them, there is no Joji. George might be all of them, but without those two, Joji doesn't exist.
Ah.
I assume. Unless, like, he really has connections in the music industry and someone was like, nah, this guy's pretty good. But, like, Pink Guy raps is super popular. Filthy Frank was super popular.
They were very up. He has an album where like the cover is just like a pink car, and that album is kind of dope.
Yeah, it's a great album. And one of my favorite songs.
Nickelodeon Girls.
Yeah, the whole album is really good.
That whole and it's funny because
I live in a constant state of fear and misery.
You know what? That I remember it, like for whatever reason it kept getting struck when people were uploading the album from beginning until end, but somehow someone got around it and uploaded like a 9-hour 59-minute 59-second version of just like the album on loop, and that got through the radar, and I was like, why is this and then it's not a 9+ hour album.
No,
but still, like,
just a loop.
Once upon a time, Pink Guy was one of the best rappers on earth. All right, you
Pink Guy's
wouldn't
still
believe
one of the
me.
best rappers on earth. He's just gone now.
And the beats were really good too. And he had videos. Yeah. And he had videos, for God's sake.
Nah, Filthy Frank was amazing. I sometimes still find myself going back and watching the videos because the channel's still up.
I really love the Genuine Revulsion where he goes as like Guy Fieri. And then he gets the rat. And he feeds it to like the short guy. And he's like, what the fuck, man? Like that's genuine. Like what is right?
Yeah, dead rats. Actually feeding somebody dead rats.
Oh my goodness. And he even dyed his hair and had the goatee.
It was amazing. His entire fucking show, or whatever you want to call it, was fantastic. It was amazing. Ravioli. So what's in the pocket-oli?
So
as he sits next to people in Central Park just eating ravioli out of his pocket. That's the best part. Like there was a time when you and I could have gone over to fucking like Central and ran into like Frank, Jontron, H3H3. Like we could have just walked into them in the middle of something. That was happening here.
It is kind of silly and bizarre though how what statistically speaking, or like Vegas odds, what are the odds of like those people being in the same? And it's funny because it wasn't there like a prank video and like randomly, so like Jontron is there.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? And then this that
he just runs. I mean, I'm sure that was like I'm sure that was stupid.
Right, but still,
but the fact that he was close enough and knew him and was like, yeah, I'll be in the fucking
by
video.
Physical proximity. I always wondered if like, as Filthy Frank was exiting YouTube, and like you posited, like what if he got insider information because like he exited right at the perfect before everything slowly fell apart. So I wonder if he like called like PewDiePie on the red presidential phone going like, you have to get out, and he's like, I'm never leaving.
Yeah, no, PewDiePie did the opposite. PewDiePie doubled down. He went through his dark age where he was just a psychopath on camera and did everything that the algorithm didn't like. Fuck it, he's PewDiePie. Like people are gonna watch him anyway.
It's amazing.
He's the only one who's immune.
I think no, Keemstar's immune.
No, Keemstar is not immune. Keemstar is paid by YouTube to keep doing what he's doing.
He's not. That means he's immune.
No, I think immunity, like true immunity, means that even if they wanted to, there's nothing they can do. Keemstar they want there. Don't know why, but they want him there. I can't understand it. I think because he brings in enough like controversy and
guaranteed viewers.
I don't know why. I can't imagine why they want to keep him around. He's one of the most toxic people on the channel, and if anybody meets the guidelines to like strike him down and remove him, it's him. PewDiePie, like no, that like he's almost untouchable.
Well, I mean, I remember what was the name of that Indian media company that was trying
T-Series?
to get and
he went at them. He also recently went at a children's programming YouTube channel.
Really?
Yes, he's been not anymore recently, but yeah, they're called Cocomelon, and they were also getting up there in the numbers, and he was like, "Fuck this." And started making fake intros to emulate Cocomelon to get the kids to subscribe, because he's like, the only reason this channel is big because there are small children who don't know what they're doing who are subscribing. Subscribe to PewDiePie. Look, Cocomelon intro. be family friendly. Whatever. But like he's someone that
live action astroturfed subterfuge.
Kind of.
I like that.
Yeah, but like the only way they can get, because he doesn't break guidelines. He stays within the realm of what they would need. He's consistent. The only way they can get rid of him would be to admit that they hate him and that they're getting rid of him for the sake of getting rid of him.
Right.
They'd have to actually be like, no, we're cutting him off and destroying his channel.
Well, I don't think that would come. No, I mean, as long as he does.
There would be consequences.
Listen, all right. So just real quickly, in regards to Twitter gimmick accounts, it is funny how, kind of like how Filthy Frank made the Harlem Shuffle as a cultural phenomenon, not the song itself.
Yeah.
So, hold on. Jesus Christ, this mask is itchy and I'm very sorry. All right.
You need to cut your hair and shave your beard.
Yeah, so women posting their L's ends up becoming the framework of which all like blank posting their L's, and without L posting, there would have been no W posting. All right.
Yes.
So, it is fascinating though how the most vicious and egregious and the never-ending assembly line of depravity and grossness. That is the origin of posting L's and W's. It is women posting their L's online. And because it's submission and you see things, sometimes you see things only meant for women's eyes. It's terrifying. Anyways. I would like, do you have any last words?
I don't like Twitter. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand how people lose so much time in it because it is also boring.
Well, it depends who you follow.
You're all kind of boring.
Oh, look at Monoxus being all cocky.
None of you guys are as entertaining as like video games, live entertainment.
True, you're not wrong.
I don't know. It's just I don't like fucking social media, so I'm biased. I can admit that. I hate it.
Okay.
I use it out of necessity. It's like how I have an Instagram for my real life. And I hate it. I hate going on it. It's basically just so people can have a way they can click on a messenger button and not have to text me. Because for some reason people just can't fucking text me.
Right, they gotta message you on Instagram.
Just share the picture, save it and share it on Instagram. So I was like, I'll make one, and I basically don't use it. I mean, sometimes I go out and do stuff, and then I'm like, all right, I'll upload pictures. But I also don't take pictures.
Fair enough.
So, I don't know. Social media to me is weird. I'd rather have like enough people I can rely on that I can count on my hand in real life than to have like a huge social net. I don't know. Depends on the situation. As far as gimmick accounts goes, I think they might lighten up Twitter a little bit. But for every like haha fun Twitter account and then like an interesting mutual, like the people who hang out and chat with us, you also just have like a sea of feds and check marks and government accounts. Like the CIA was posting the other day, and I was like, "Yo, CIA, what are you covering up? Why are you posting?"
Bro, like right?
Like what why do you have an account, and what are you hiding? So like, there's more of that than there is like fun, gimmicky, cool people on Twitter. And then like all the ones that are really fun and really good usually get shadow banned.
Ladies and jerks, yo, what's good, El Primo? Ladies and jerks, if and when you can, oh snap, El Primo got home safe. Recommend people for Monoxus to follow on Twitter if you think they don't suck, all right? And then he'll judge them by his standards.
Assuming I read them.
So, oh shit, good looks, El Primo. So, I had asked El Primo to have twitch.tv/Monoxus on the smart TV at work. And like I hope I get to see what looks like us on a TV somewhere out in like the fucking wild. So
that'd be great.
So my only closing thoughts are, I don't think
Twitter's gonna outlive you.
Yeah, well, that too. I don't think accounts that, you see, because sometimes imagine like you're too far in deep. Imagine like some of those accounts taking over the lives of the people who were like.
That's what I imagine. Like because if you're a check mark, that becomes part of your life. If you're part of an institution or a government group or like a corporation, and you run the Twitter account, it's probably your job. But for someone who's a gimmick account, you're doing that of your own will. I can't imagine someone's paying someone to do that. Maybe you use it for something else, like you have an amazing gimmick account and through it you're like, oh, come hang out and watch me stream. Oh, buy my merch. And that keeps you afloat, which if you can do that, fucking great. But if you just have a gimmick account and you're just maintaining the gimmick account for the gimmick, my God.
Either it's passion or you're in too deep.
Yep, that could.
So I would like to get out of this fucking mess because it's so goddamn itchy.
Okay, I know what we'll call it. We have to do one more thing before we call it a night.
Yeah.
We didn't really talk about one of our topics.
Oh, we have to say something nice about China.
We have to say something nice about China.
All right, fine. They gave us Taoism, fireworks, the I Ching, Theosophy. What else did they give us? Hey, you could see the Great Wall of China from space.
Yeah.
Let's see.
They've got some pretty good food. Not American Chinese, actual Chinese food.
Lemon chicken. Ooh, fair enough.
My boy's got some solid duck over there when he visits. And he says when he's not in major cities, it's a pretty beautiful place.
Wow. I imagine, well, I mean, because it's just so much countryside, there's so much more to China than like Beijing and Shanghai.
Oh, yeah. That's like my homie's, like, he's from China originally, and he came here with his family to avoid China. But every once in a while, they go back to visit the family who didn't come here to avoid China.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, yeah, you stay out of the city? Beautiful place. But, realistically, he was like, you're basically staying in to, like, do what you do here anyway. Playing video games, reading whatever, books, comics, manga, watching TV. He's like, but you're in China, and it's nice. And he's like, and sometimes you go into town, and they think you don't speak Chinese, and they try and rob you. And then when you speak it, you're like, I know how much this costs. It's like, fuck you, I can read the sign.
That's amazing.
Apparently, he was like, I see plenty of like people who like travel in and like they tell them like, oh, this much, and they don't understand. They just hand them money, and then they give them back the wrong change. He's like, happens all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like Chinese isn't exactly the easiest language in the world to learn.
But imagine, I imagine those are like I don't know what the name is. There's a name for people who do the whole like tourism, but like it's they go to these places that they have like no understanding of the culture or the language. They're just doing it for like the clout of it, I guess. Mm-hmm. So like if if you work in China, you probably learn Chinese or you have a translator.
Right.
If you're visiting family, again, either you speak it or like your family speaks it, so you're taken care of. But if you're someone who's like, I'm just gonna go to China, and then you're Google translating everything to try and like get around.
You would probably need a translator.
Like a digital one, yeah. But yeah, I mean, so nice things about China.
Okay, so I think that covers it.
I think pretty much, because like other than that, like, well, I mean, we could talk about how much, like how China hasn't won wars in a long time.
In 400 years, actually.
And how they're a communist dictatorship that has death camps.
Did you know that after the Vietnam War, China invaded Vietnam? So a battered, bloodied, and bruised and exhausted Viet Cong is like, oh, is that China? And then they beat China. It happened.
Yeah.
FYI. So, ladies and jerks, thank you for tuning in here at twitch.tv/Monoxus. If you haven't followed, that's on you, and be prepared to tell the ghost of Mel Brooks why you hate America. All right?
Mel Brooks.
Oh, is he not dead yet?
I hope not.
Wait, we have to find out if Mel Brooks is alive.
He's probably dead.
I know. Why are you fucking juking me out with the living and the dead here? Let's see when this guy died.
How did Vietnam beat America and China, John Woo? Punji pits. Napalm.
This motherfucker's still alive! He's 94 years old!
Tall grass. Good. I'm glad he's still alive.
Of course you are.
Be a damn shame when he dies.
It's gonna. Oh no, you're
Tall
right.
grass, punji pits, napalm.
Well, here's the thing.
Deception. A lot of deception.
John Woo. Numbers wise, the United States wiped the floor with Vietnam, but it was a very unpopular war at home. And it was the last war to be broadcast live into the living room because, like, once upon a time, the news used to show such a thing. So
It's kind of like setting the high score on an arcade machine that you've been battering quarters into for hours, and then someone's like, "Yo, bro, we're leaving the barcade. We gotta go." And you're like, "I'm on the fucking I'm on the last boss. Can you?" And they're like, "No, dude, we gotta go." And then you just let the final boss kill you, but then you have a high score that no one's beating anytime soon.
USA.
Yeah, USA, and everyone's just like, and you're sitting there like, I could have just fucking ended this, and these motherfuckers are like, "Get out!" You know.
So I mean, they did have grass that you could hide an elephant in. They had
Punji pits.
They had zillions of traps because, listen, let it be known,
Grotesque traps too. They didn't fuck around.
Their geography was conducive to tunnel systems, and they were also really good at tunnel systems. And there you go. But how do you beat? Anybody could beat China. In direct warfare, anybody can beat China. You know,
they can Zerg split rush you.
Maybe
pure numbers, but nowadays that's a thing.
If they don't beat you in the first month, it can't be sustained.
Well, that's the thing though. Modern warfare is no longer fought that way, so they need a different. They'd have to do something like biological warfare.
Mm.
You know, like hypothetically, they'd have to release a virus that weakens the world. And then maybe
theoretically,
yeah, but that's illegal. No one can do that
right.
on a global scale. That's not allowed to be done. But hypothetically, if a place like China wanted to have global warfare where they got ahead of things, they could ruin economies and destroy populations,
right?
And then use
and help facilitate and bring about a great reset.
Yes, they could do that. Hypothetically, I don't think they're going to though, because it would negatively affect them. Nukes are also off the table. Otherwise, nukes would work.
Well,
a lot of things that are off the table would be very... I mean, I guess technically that would work on either side. You know? We could do that. We could release a virus and decimate the world.
Well, nukes have been nothing more but a gambling chip for many, many years.
For a long time. Ever since we used them.
Right. Right. So look. We're going to discuss the pitfalls of nuclear technology on another stream.
Maybe during the Biden stream, we can couple Biden's presidency and nuclear war.
Nuclear Biden?
And then we can see if Twitch likes that one.
All right, deal. We're going to see you ladies and jerks later. On Saturday, it's going to be Resident Evil 8.
Friday and Saturday.
That's right, and Sunday.
And Sunday. Resident Evil 8 all weekend.
Gracias por tu presencia aquí hoy noche. Have a good night. Smell you all later.
Deuces.